DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on this Wednesday here for another edition of the NorbCam Roundtable. Excited to get into this. To talk a little bit about this upcoming weekend. We've got the NFC and the AFC Championship games, of course, getting ever so closer to the Super Bowl. And we of course, got to talk a little Seahawks, talk a little bit Seahawks free agents. Who do we need to keep? Who can we afford to let go? And maybe some other breaking news around the league, since it's changing by the minute. So we're going to get into all this. You guys go ahead and hit the chat up. And, super chat would be great because, it definitely gets our attention, and we'll try to answer comments and questions from you as we go. But before we jump into it, I first want to just quickly recognize my sponsor, Daniel Dovin. I've talked about him quite a bit. There he is. Daniel Dovin of Dovin Real Estate. If you guys are looking for a house to buy or sell, he is your man. Been grown up, born and raised in the Seattle area. So if you guys have any needs in that area, he's going to hook you up. And if you do a one-on-one consultation, a free consultation, he'll get you in a drawing for a Cortez Kennedy rookie card, which would be pretty cool. So let's get right into it and jump into the roundtable. You'll see that we have a little bit of a reduced size roundtable today. There we go. We've got the two gents. Actually, we stack you guys up since we've got a little bit smaller arrangement today. There we go. Let's go here. We got to the top. It's just kind of back to our basics, sadly, because I'm going to miss the other guys. But right now, we've just got on the top, we've got DJ Squabs. And, let's kind of mix things up here. I'm going to give you a chance to tell everybody what you got going on right now, so that you can, share with everybody what's new, what's in your channel. What can they expect to see from you on your channel this week?
Thank you so much, Norb. Well, as you guys know, last week I put together a video about fixing the Seattle Seahawks and what it's going to take. Last week I also promised Norb that I was going to make him an article and totally forgot about that promise and responsibility. So I wanted to formally apologize to you, Norb. That article, as promised, will arrive. It's just on like a week-long COVID delay.
No worries, man. It's all good.
The Air Force One, but that's coming for sure. But I'm super excited to officially announce that tomorrow, for the first time in my career, I'm going to be broadcasting as the color commentator a Washington State University basketball game live as it happens on KUGR's radio station, as well as their Facebook page and potentially their YouTube channel. So definitely go check out those things. I am super excited to broadcast the game. I'm super excited to be there. And what that means for you guys, not only can you listen to the game live on KUGR's Facebook page and KUGR radio station, but also, if you subscribe to my channel and go check out my channel, I'm going to be posting a live, or not a live, but a vlog later on about the whole experience, getting into Beasley Coliseum with no fans, the COVID protocols, all that stuff with my buddy Asherline. So stay tuned on my channel for that. There's going to be a vlog of calling a Wazoo men's basketball game. Tomorrow is the game, and the vlog will come later this week or early next. So that's what we got coming up. And of course, some watch parties this weekend. I'm hoping to possibly connect with Norb during one of the games, if not both. But the NFC and AFC Championship game, I'm going to be doing watch parties all Sunday long. So lots to look forward to on DJ Squabo.
All right. And of course, the links are in the description. So go check out his YouTube channel as well as the social media. And we got Steezy A. Smith, always looking sharp. Steezy, it's good to have you back here, man. Tell everybody what you got going for those who are new here. What do you have coming on this week, and a little bit about what's on your channel?
My pleasure. What's up, guys? If you guys don't know me, my name is Calvin Domingo, a.k.a. Steezy A. Smith. Just dropped a video the other day talking about why James Harden isn't enough for the Brooklyn Nets to defeat the LA Lakers if they were to match up in the NBA Finals this coming season. If you guys haven't already, please be sure to check that out. Show me some love, drop a like, drop a comment. Those go a long way, each and every single one. So if you guys can do that for me, please, that'd be tremendous. And Norb, I did have a Seahawks video to go along with an article, but we have to botch the video just because the audio was real bad. And so I will have a Seahawks video soon and an article coming out soon. I just kind of have to re-angle it just because Seahawks and Rams is kind of irrelevant now.
Right.
So I don't want to have to drop a video talking about, what happened 2 weeks ago. So that'll be coming, I don't know, hopefully sometime in the next couple of days, maybe a week, but there will be an article to go with that. And if you guys haven't, or if you guys aren't already, please be sure to follow me on Instagram, follow my sports page at Steezy A. Smith. And I'm also hoping to do a Conor McGregor video sometime this week. So be on the lookout for that. All
right. Yeah. Expanding into the other sports now that football's starting to wind down. So, yeah, I think all of us, it'll be fun off season since I've had many off seasons, but it's always a challenge thinking of how do I keep things relevant so people have still things to keep coming back to our channels. And you guys, this is sort of like your first off season since your channel has been in full effect during all the football season. So it's going to be fun to see how all the different content we started doing. I know you guys do a lot of NBA. Of course, you got the Wazoo stuff, Squabo and Steezy. Obviously, you're talking MMA and other stuff. So, it's going to be fun. But we're always going to have football to come back together because Seattle Seahawks football is never really over. It's just a little quieter until things get ramped back up. But we got to talk about the first thing here in regards to the topic of conversation, and that is the Super Bowl coming up. We do have the championship games this weekend. And like you said, Squabble, you're going to be doing live streaming. I'm going to be doing live streaming. And there's just so much to get into. We are going to also talk about a little bit later also the Seahawks free agents. Maybe not go through all of them because there's quite a long list. So we might just get through a few of those. And then I want to reserve some time for trivia at the end, courtesy of Cameron Hughes. So let's, talk a little bit about the games. Kind of what's setting up here on the table for the NFC Championship. We've got the Packers, the Battle of the Bays. We got Green Bay hosting Tampa Bay, and then in the AFC, we've got, of course, the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. I'm curious to see kind of what your take is, who you're hoping for, who you think's going to kind of come away with the win. So I guess at this point, let's just toss up to you, Squabs. What do you think about this weekend? Who do you got? What do you think about the matchups this weekend? Just kind of giving a little overview of what you think.
Man, when we talk about the matchups this weekend, we all know, at least to us, the NFC is far more relevant, so I'll save that one for last. Let's go AFC first. Buffalo, Kansas City. Will Patrick Mahomes be on the field? Will he be anywhere near 100% recovering from concussion protocols, being a limited participant in practice today? So what's the status on Mahomes going to be? I think with or without Mahomes, this is a great game. I think even without Mahomes, Andy Reid and that system, that offense, those talented players, we saw what Tyreek Hill was doing when Chad Henne came in mid-game and they weren't planning on using him, but Tyreek Hill on the sideline stands up like a not in a diva way, but like a let's go make a play and let's go win kind of way. And then he ended up making the game-winning play in that game. So I really like Kansas City. Kansas City's a 3-point favorite in this game, but I like Buffalo against the points, and I like Buffalo in the ballgame. I think Buffalo's the hottest team in the NFL going down the stretch, and had they not lost the Arizona game, what would it have been? 7 straight victories to end the season. A phenomenal job by Buffalo closing out their season. They're not afraid to blow teams out. What was it? 0 rush attempts in the first quarter last week. Was that the statistic? Some crazy statistic.
That's right. Yeah. Let's and Steve, just feel free to jump in. Let's kind of just. We'll be all in talking about the AFC back and forth, and then we'll talk about the NFC because I think we got to talk. That game was something else. Just all the storylines going on with the game last week. We were talking about Kansas City and like you're saying. But yeah, continue on. And Stacey, feel free because you're such a polite guy, and sometimes you have to wait. You almost raise your hand to come in, and I want you to just come in there. You're Stacey A. Smith. You can come in there like the other A. Smith that we know out there, and just jump in and we can have this as a debate or an agreement. But Squabs, continue with your argument when we'll just jump in when we feel the need to. All right?
Yeah. So essentially, Buffalo's the hotter team. Kansas City has been underrating opponents. Last week, they came out strong against Cleveland. We saw Patrick Mahomes go down, and the offense did stall for a while. But regardless, Kansas City has not been playing the best football. Buffalo has, and that's why I have Buffalo winning this game in a shootout. 38-37, the same score that I had for last week. Cleveland, Kansas City. I was wrong about the score and the outcome, but it was a closer game than a lot of people predicted, and I won some stake because of how close I did predict that game was going to be. But regardless, I'm taking Buffalo in an upset victory, 38-37, advances to the Super Bowl.
Wow, you got the whole prediction.
So that's with or without Pat Mahomes?
Yep.
Well, so the question, I guess, first question, all right, so I don't see how you can have the same score with or without. That doesn't seem like you could possibly have an even score regardless of who's a quarterback. Same outcome.
The score without will be different. The score without will be different. I definitely think it's a low-scoring game. I think that it's a low-scoring game on both sides because Buffalo's not going to feel as much pressure. I think it's a different style of game if it's Chad Henne at quarterback, because then Buffalo's going to want to control, or it's not going to be or they might try and control the clock more and just end the game after they jump out to a big lead, whereas with Patrick Mahomes, no lead is safe, and they're going to try and run up the score kind of deal and put up as many points as possible. So if Mahomes is there, I think it's 38-37. If it's Chad Henne, it's more along the lines of 34-23, something like that.
And in the super chat, Chef Jack Attack is busy. So guess who's back again? He also says he's got the Bills versus the Packers in the Super Bowl. And then he says the Bills they are the better team. And Jack, by the way, I did finally check out your YouTube channel and took a peek at some of your cooking videos and the video about you getting a new dog and all that. So pretty cool. It's cool to see a face to the name. So you guys want to check out Chef Jack Attack. He does have that channel by that name on YouTube. He does a cooking show. He's quite talented. So go check him out. And he's like an ball of energy that never stops. Pretty impressive. But so do you guys think any chance that Mahomes doesn't play in this game? I guess I know it's concussion protocol, and they're going to have the objective, neutral doctor's going to evaluate on that. But I don't know. Can you imagine them not having him play? It's hard for me to imagine him in any situation not playing. So I think he's going to play. Is there any possible doubt that you guys think he won't play? Steezy, I'll throw it to you.
No, I think he is going to play. Matter of fact, he was actually a full participant in practice today, but because of the fact that he's in concussion protocol, they had to make him a limited participant, or they had to label him as a limited participant. And so if he wasn't in the concussion protocol, he would have been a full participant in practice today. I don't think there's any way that he doesn't play in this football game, as long as he passes the concussion protocols at least. And today, I think was a big step in, completing that process. And, Andy Reid, he didn't comment on what stage he is in terms of, because I think there's 5 stages in the concussion protocol, and he didn't comment on whether he's in stage 2, 3, 4, 5. But I think the fact that he was able to, give it a go in practice, he was pretty much there the entire practice session. So I don't think there's any doubt that I don't think there's any doubt as to his availability this coming Sunday in a must-win game, obviously in the NFC Championship game. And Squab, you made a great point. Yeah, the Bills are the hotter team. The Chiefs, they have been, conceding a little bit. They have been, playing down to their opponents. But I think Chiefs are still a better football team. The Chiefs still have the better quarterback. The Chiefs still have, more dominant ground game. The Chiefs, I think the defenses are about even. It's kind of a toss-up. Buffalo's defense is hotter, but I think that, the Chiefs, if their defense is right, if, all their guys are doing what they're supposed to do, I think the defenses are pretty even. Tyrann Mathieu's been on a tear for whatever that's worth. And so I think, obviously, if Pat Mahomes doesn't play, if it comes down to that scenario, I don't envision the Chiefs winning this football game, and we'll be seeing the Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl for the first time since, the early 90s. But I think that Pat Mahomes is going to play. And so with that being said, Chiefs are going to win this football game. I just don't see the Chiefs losing this game if Pat Mahomes is in the lineup. And the Chiefs, they were able to hold their own last week, even against the Browns. They were on the come up, and they were on their way to making a comeback. And Chad Henne made a few ill-advised throws. And so that's why I don't trust Chad Henne if he was a starter going into this football game. But, they still have a whole lot of weapons: Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and obviously, Pat Mahomes, if he plays. And, he'll be able to step it up. Even last year in the playoffs, they were down against the Texans. They were down against the Titans. They were down against the Niners, and they were able to get it done. And now that's the AFC Championship game. Now that the games are, now that the Super Bowl's at stake. There's just no way I see the Chiefs losing. And it's going to be a shootout. Both these teams are very explosive. These are probably the 2 best quarterbacks in the AFC. 2 top 5 quarterbacks going head to head. I do want to see the Bills in the Super Bowl. That'd be nice. But I just think that for being realistic, the Chiefs gonna win it in the shootout. It's probably gonna come down to a last second score final drive. But I think at the end of the day, the Chiefs get it done. I'm going to say 35-32, Kansas City.
Yeah, I think it's, if there is any doubt or possibility that Mahomes doesn't play, I think they go as Mahomes goes. If Mahomes plays, they'll win. If he doesn't play, then I think they're going to lose. I think it's going to be a close game, like you said. I really think, though, the Bills, man, it's just something about, like you said, they got that magic carpet thing going on right now. Josh Allen, it just feels like they're that Cinderella team that's got the kind of magic going on with them right now. And I really like them. That's kind of my pick. I mean, I like Kansas City also. I've kind of thought that they were going to be sort of the shoe-in to come back and attempt to repeat. But Bills were my second favorite team. Actually, they're the ones I'm rooting for. I just think Kansas City's got the edge on that. But I think mostly just because of their story, I really think Josh Allen's a great quarterback. And I think their fans, the Bills Mafia, man, and then just what they've had to deal with for all those years that they've been in the shadow of the Patriots, and then of course the times they did get to the Super Bowl and lost, what was it, four straight Super Bowls? I mean, when does that happen? It's hard to get to one. It's hard to get to two. It's hard to get to 3 and 4, and it got to be even harder to lose all 4. I mean, that's got to be one of the most biggest holes in terms of feeling like, how can we not have won at least one of those? And they were never, I think, had to not recover from all that, but that was like 30-something years ago. So they've had this a long time coming. And then the classy move that the Bills Mafia did, I'm sure you guys heard about that they raised money for Lamar Jackson's charity after he got injured, after that game was over. And they raised, I don't know what it's up to now, but last I checked, it was something around $300,000 raised for the charity, just something the Bills Mafia fan base did on their own. And that's a very cool, classy thing to do. So on top of that, all the more reason I thought, what? I think that much more I want to root for these guys to get it done. But I can't wait, man. It's going to be a great game. But like you said, Squabs, you were talking about how they didn't run the ball at all in the first half, right? And how much we've been talking about, you got to have a balanced attack. You got to have this. And granted, it wasn't a shootout to start off that game, but, they did enough that they had to get the win. And, but yeah, it's hard to imagine a team in this day and age, not running the ball at all. Yet, they were able to get it done. So, yeah,
I forgot to mention the Bills. They're going to be without Zach Moss, as he just underwent ankle surgery, and so I think that when it comes to shootouts against the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to need everything you can get. And Buffalo Bills, they've already struggled to run the football all year long, and so now they're going to be without their rookie running back. He's a part of a two-headed attack, him and Devin Singletary, but now you take him away. And the biggest weakness on the Kansas City Chiefs' defense is their run defense. And so the Buffalo Bills, even with Zach Moss, I had a hard time envisioning them being able to crack that leaky run defense of the Chiefs. But now that they're without Zach Moss, it's like the run game is going to be almost non-existent. And so I think that in a shootout with Patrick Mahomes, you're going to need some form of help, whether that's in a run game or your defense. But even the Buffalo Bills, their run defense, they struggle. Their defense can be inconsistent at times. And so without a run game, I don't think that's going to help the Chiefs. I mean, the Bills in this case.
Yeah, that's a really good point. They kind of have the deficiencies. The matchup is just, it's a bad time for them to go get matched up against a team where if there was a weakness to be exploited, now they don't have the weapons to really do it. So,
exactly.
Yeah. No, it's. I guess it's unfortunate for them, but who knows? They're still pretty good at throwing the ball, and we'll have to see if they can go, toe to toe in a shootout through the air, because it seems like that's what they're going to have to do. Squabbo, anything else you want to add? I know you already predicted this game result, but anything else you want to add to the argument?
Yeah, no, I definitely think they're still fully capable of establishing a powerful run game, considering their better runner. Devin Singletary will be there. I just think that it's not a big part of their game plan anyways. I feel like they just want to air out the ball anyways. Like, having a rush attack is very good, and I'm the one that wants Seattle to go back to the rushing attack and rush first offense this next coming season, so that we don't have a civil war within our locker room and have to either move on from Pete or get rid of Russ. And I'm hoping that the locker room can buy into that too, despite the rumors. But Buffalo doesn't think like that. Buffalo doesn't need to run the football. Buffalo doesn't want to run the football. The plays that they had schemed coming into the game last week, none of them were rushes. And that tells you what they want to do. And while it is about that specific defense, there have been countless games throughout the year, so many games this year where they had little to no rush attack and they still won dominantly. And that's just how Buffalo plays. So I'm not concerned about a lack of a Zach Moss as much as you guys are. I think they still have their better runner and they don't want to run anyway. So it's not going to be very big of a deal. Zach Moss had a couple games this year where he really did nothing for this team. In the end, I think it's going to be a shootout. Like I said, I think it comes down to a Harrison Butker missed field goal with a chance to win the game and send him to the Super Bowl and devastates Kansas City and leaves Kansas City complaining about kicking.
I mean, Squad, you do make a great point. You know, they don't need a run game, but when they're going up against a team with Patrick Mahomes and a team that's better than them, like I said, everything or anything, you're going to need everything that you could possibly get. And Devin Singletary, he is a better runner. He's a more explosive runner. But if the run game was effective in any game this season at all, it was because they had a two-headed monster. Zach Moss is the in-between the tackles guy. He's the goal line. He's the running back that you want at the goal line. Devin Singletary, I wouldn't want him at the goal line. He's, aside from explosiveness, he doesn't provide much as a running back. And so I understand what you're saying, but I just think that going up against a better team, going up against a better quarterback, you're going to need everything you can get.
And they're just Kansas City, just they're just so well-rounded. Kansas City is just so well-rounded. They got weapons at every position: running, receiver, tight end, quarterback. And the most important one, which is why so much relies on the fact that he's going to be playing in that game. Again, I can't see how they wouldn't let him play, but if by some chance he doesn't, I mean, that would be the one thing that would prevent them from moving on. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun game to watch. So Chef Jack Attack, again, busy in the Super Chat, says Bills are the better team. So, he seems to be on that tip that they're disagreeing with you and me, Steves, but we'll see. Well, let's talk a little bit about the other game now, transition to the NFC Championship game, the one that we hoped to be playing in earlier this year, but unfortunately that got cut short. But, man, I guess before we talk about the matchup, maybe a few thoughts on what they did last week. I was watching this going, man, if Seattle did get by the Rams, I don't know if we would have much chance in that game. You never know because every team's different. But considering what the Rams did to us and then watching what the Packers did to the Rams, it was. I was watching
New Orleans.
Well, that's true. I guess I'm thinking NFC Championship game. Ultimately, if we'd gotten past the Saints, we would have ended up here anyway. So I'm looking at that kind of fast forwarding. But as far as just the just watching, how the matchup went in that game, Packers look really good. Aaron Rodgers. Just his confidence in the pocket, how quickly he gets rid of the ball, and really what I saw there that was driving me nuts, that brought me back to our loss in the wild card game, was just watching how much as Aaron Rodgers, by the way, did get the MVP as kind of expected, but look how much they ran the ball in that game. I mean, again, it's not him just cooking by himself. They had so many run plays that helped Aaron Rodgers succeed. It was Jones, it was Williams. I mean, they were all running the ball, gashing him at times, 5-10 yards. And I know Aaron Donald was not himself because of what happened to him in playing our game. But man, it reminded me more of how that's why you got to run the ball, because it just opens so many other things up. But it was pretty impressive to watch. So Green Bay was definitely something to watch in that game. And I think Aaron Rodgers, he definitely earned that MVP. And so, what are you guys' thoughts on I guess a little bit on the games last week? Start with you, Steez.
Now, I was kind of surprised. I was gunning for the upset. I had the Rams defeating the Packers just because I felt like they had the formula, they had the ingredient to go after Aaron Rodgers and to kind of make him struggle a little bit and to kind of make him work. But as you said, the run game opened up so many things for the Packers. You wouldn't even know about the absence of left tackle David Bakhtiari. You wouldn't going into that game just because they didn't feel. I don't think they felt it at all. The Rams, they struggled to get pressure. Devontae Adams kind of had his way. I was kind of surprised, but I did have the Rams coming out just because I thought that their defense was going to show up and get pressure, get after Aaron Rodgers. But, they barely got any pressure. Jalen Ramsey wasn't really matching up on Devontae that many times. I mean, that often. But in the few times that he did, they had a few miscommunication errors, especially that one in the end zone, in which I think Devontae was in motion to the left, and then right before the play was snapped, he motioned right back to his right, and Jalen Ramsey was trying to follow him, across the formation, but he didn't get there in time.
Yeah,
and he was screaming at one of his nickelbacks, saying like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Yeah, but Coach Marsh actually broke down that. Coach Marsh broke down that play in the coach's corner last night, and he was just talking about how quickly he released that ball. It went from snap, boom, throw in less than a second, and so I don't even think there's any way. They could have been on top of that and really could have stopped that play. It was just a great design play and a well-executed play. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they neutralized Jalen Ramsey. I mean, there was a move that Davante Adams did on, I think it was on Ramsey. It reminded me, Doug Baldwin had that really good kind of stutter step to get off the line. And Baldwin used to talk about how it was like in basketball when you're going to make a move on a guy and get him to go left and then basically just have him reaching for air. He did a move on him where it was just so simple. It was just a little thing where you kind of quick juke to the right and then in. But man, all of a sudden, there's like 5 feet, 6 feet of space with just that little move. And he's so good at that, I hope DK Metcalf was taking notes, man, because that footwork, I mean, that's the key. Because if you get that separation, man, that's the key. So, yeah, it was something to watch. Squad, but what about you? What's your thoughts on watching the Packers in that game last week?
I mean, Cece was kind of in the start. Cece, are you good, brother?
Oh, I'm pretty much done. I was just going to point out, having an elite offensive line, could go such a long way for you, because even despite the fact that they were missing probably the best left tackle in football, the offensive line pretty much held up. They have a Pro Bowl left guard. They have an All-Pro center still left behind. And so, I'm just hoping not only DK Metcalf, but I'm hoping the Seahawks were still, I'm hoping the Seahawks were taking notes. And I hope that, we could, I know that we do want to continue to run the football, but I just hope that we could really continue to work on the offensive line just because, we saw how the Packers offensive line handled that Rams defensive line. I mean, I feel like that could really help us go into next season for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so Squab, go for it, man.
I thought Green Bay in the game last week, I thought it was going to be a closer game. I didn't think it turned out to be such a blowout. Green Bay did a really, really good job. You guys talked about the play where Davante Adams scored that touchdown one-on-one with Jalen Ramsey and how upset Jalen got after that play. And what I noticed about this Packers game that I didn't notice about Seattle in the past couple of games, some of it is because of Russell Wilson and missing some of those reads like Coach Marsh did talk about in the breakdown, and I agree with that. But we don't do as many things in Seattle as they did in Green Bay in that game specifically to set our offense up for success. And what I mean by that is that play specifically, man, that if there was ever a definition for a pre-snap touchdown, that is exactly the definition. Yep. Setting Davante Adams in motion, knowing that he's manned up with Jalen Ramsey, then sending him back in motion after getting Jalen Ramsey in the position that you wanted, snapping the ball while he's still running full speed, and immediately throwing the ball to him. That is a 100% pre-snap touchdown. Aaron Rodgers just has to go through the motions after the snap. That had nothing to do with him reading. That had nothing to do with anything like that. That was 100% pre-snap, and that touchdown belongs to the head coach. They could have ran that with a number of different players, and it would have been wide open because the play call is so phenomenal. The play call is so elite. What if we ran that with Tyler Lockett? We'd have touchdowns on the goal line all the time, but no, we want to run stupid little slants that cost us Super Bowls. There were plays throughout that game where we saw the play calling was simply better. There were plays where Aaron Rodgers would intentionally and the Packers would intentionally substitute some of their guy or pretend that they're going to substitute and then go back to the line as the other team substitutes, catching too many players on the field, and they run a play. They advanced on the field. They literally had plays drawn up for catching defenders on the field. That is coaching, ladies and gentlemen. That is not just about Aaron Rodgers, but Aaron Rodgers definitely is the MVP. This team is playing phenomenal football. I was extremely impressed with their performance, especially without David Bakhtiari at left tackle, how they manhandled the Rams at times. The Rams were in that game, but the Packers pulled away late, and I think the Packers should be the favorite right now to win the Super Bowl with how they're playing. They have the MVP on their team, and they're coached extremely, extremely well, and they've been playing well as of late. That being said, I don't know if I'm going to pick them to win this game. And the reason being, I think with my head, they'll win the game. But my heart is strong against the Packers. I tell you guys, the top three teams I hate in the league. You would think it would be San Fran, the Rams, and Arizona. But Arizona is not one of the top 3 teams I hate in this league. I hate the Packers more than I hate the Arizona Cardinals, and they are in our division. That is how much I dislike the Packers. The Green Bay Packers have knocked us out of the playoffs. They did last year. Them winning is never a good thing for Seattle. Tampa Bay, on the other hand, while yes, they have Tom Brady, if they win, it devastates an entire franchise of the New England Patriots that just lost Tom Brady and Gronk and are now seeing their girl with another man doing great things once again. So that's going to hurt New England. I'm pulling for Tampa Bay in this game. I think they win the game down to the wire, 30-29. Green Bay a 3-point favorite. I go away from it. Tampa Bay wins late.
So you say your heart is against Green Bay and that you're picking Tampa Bay. You're saying that that's because that's what you want to have happen, not what you think is going to happen, but you as a fan is hoping will happen.
I'm letting emotions just believe that some way that this is going to happen. I think Green Bay is going to be in a really good ball game, but I could see them losing on a game losing kick or a game winning kick for Tampa.
Wow. So this is man. Now you got me thinking because I was all in, and I don't like either team to win. Obviously, it's a lose-lose situation as a Hawks fan. But I think the thought of seeing Brady up there doing another thing at the podium, I've seen that movie so many times. That's why I'm really hoping that Green Bay wins this game. And then they face either the Bills or the Chiefs, hopefully the Bills, and then the Bills can win it. And then I want to see either of those NFC teams holding the Lombardi Trophy at the end of the year. So, but I guess I'm the Tom Brady scars from 6 years ago, or is it 7 years ago? No, 6 years ago. Still resonate hard. And yes, the Packers have gotten the best of us too, but they've also lost a lot of games to us and given us some of the greatest games, including that same year with the NFC Championship game here up in Seattle. So from that silly fan standpoint, for me personally, I'm still going with the home team here. Although you're right about that argument that just to debunk, to knock the mystique of the Packers are undefeated, unbeatable at Lambeau Field. To watch them lose at Lambeau could be a devastating long-term thing on the Packers psychologically for them not to get this done. Because I'm sure at this point, everybody who's pulling for Green Bay is expecting Green Bay to, take care of them, being that they're at home and everything like that. But you got Tom Brady, man. He's no stranger to cold weather, so this is kind of his element as well, more so than had it been a breezy or a Drew Brees type of game. We aren't going to see that obviously because we haven't talked about that game yet. But this is probably the best matchup to give the Packers a run for their money. So we're about to find out if Brady's got enough left in the tank for this one. But I don't know. I think I'm still going for the home favorite here. The power of Lambeau and the frozen tundra, even though it's really not frozen anymore because they have like heating systems underneath the grass and all that stuff now. But I still think that it's going to be too much. And I guess transitioning into that other game, the Saints and Tampa Bay, it wasn't like Brady had the greatest of games. Their defense won them that game. The Saints gave them that game. The Saints should have won that game. They failed to score twice in the red zone, their first 2 possessions, where they had an opportunity to go up to 10-0 or 14-0. Instead, they had to settle for field goals, so it kept them close. And then in the end, it was the turnovers that made the difference. It wasn't anything that the Tampa Bay offense did. So I guess I'm at this point not feeling that. Tampa Bay's they do have a good defense. That's what they bring. But I guess from an offensive standpoint, after what I saw by Green Bay, I just think that Bay is going to be much stronger and harder for Tampa Bay to stop than Green Bay trying to stop the Tampa Bay offense. I think the matchup favors Green Bay, in my opinion. So what's your Steve? What's your?
I'd have to say otherwise. I know this was a regular season game, but Week 6, the Packers got annihilated, 38-10. And I know it was in Tampa Bay, in the sunny Tampa Bay weather, but I don't think that was a fluke. Tampa Bay, just like the LA Rams, I think they also have the recipe. I think they also have the ingredients to at least maybe not stop Aaron Rodgers, but at least to contain Aaron Rodgers. But the difference between the Buccaneers and the Rams is that the Buccaneers have the GOAT and Tom Brady and have all these weapons and Antonio Brown and Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. The Rams, they didn't have an offense to go along with that defense that they had. And I think that's one of the things that led to their downfall last week against the Packers. But the Buccaneers, the last time they played, they didn't even have Antonio Brown. And I understand that Devontae Adams was just coming back. It was his first game back. But, Aaron Rodgers, he very much looked like a different quarterback in that game. He had 2 pick sixes. I think his passer rating was under 50. He barely threw for over 100 yards. And the 38-10 score, like I said, that was not a fluke. They have the pressure packages. They have the defense. They have the physicality. Now they have an offense that could go toe-to-toe. They could win in the shootout. They have more weapons. They still have Tom Brady. And like you said, Tom Brady didn't have the best of games last week against the New Orleans Saints. He didn't have to. The Saints turned the ball over 4 times. Jerry Cook had a fumble. Drew Brees had 3 picks. Couldn't push the ball downfield. Jameis Winston had their only long play of the game. Michael Thomas didn't have a single catch. Or he had the same amount of yards as all 3 of us combined. Alvin Kamara didn't get the football enough. The Buccaneers, I didn't really have very many – I didn't have much evidence, or I didn't have very many stats or anything to back up why I had the Bucs over the Saints last week. But just like squad, it kind of came down to feel, or just came down to what was going on in my heart. And I told a lot of people that I could see the Bucs win this football game against the Saints, and they did. And they're also my pick against the Packers. I think that the Bucs are going to come out of this game and advance to the Super Bowl. Because at the beginning of the season, both Squab and I both predicted Tampa Bay would be in the Super Bowl if Seattle wasn't representing the NFC. And so I still think that comes to fruition. And like you mentioned, Norb, Tom Brady, he's had a lot of success in cold weather, so I don't think that's a problem whatsoever. And I think that it's probably going to come down to a shootout, and it'll be a good game. But I think that Tampa Bay, comes out on top. Tom Brady's just going to find a way. Antonio Brown, I think he's going to have his best game of the season. And while Green Bay's secondary is pretty good, I don't think it's good enough to contain 3 superstar wide receivers. Who's going to cover Gronk too, especially so. And then Tampa Bay's run game, they're getting pretty hot at the right time as well. Ronald Jones, Leonard Fournette, they're out there running hard, hitting the holes. So they have a whole lot of balance as well. And their offensive line is also playing well. So I think Tampa Bay comes out on top 35-32.
I think the only reason why I feel like it's a little bit different, that was a long time ago, right? I know that was in Tampa Bay. The circumstances were very different. I don't think Green Bay had quite their offense. They certainly weren't humming like they are right now. The other thing, too, is looking back at that Tampa Bay game against the Saints, they were also pretty riddled. They had some injuries at some key positions as well. So I don't think they were firing on a fully open chamber. Drew Brees is not the Drew Brees of the past. Aaron Rodgers is a much better quarterback now than Drew Brees was in that game. They were some bad interceptions. Some of those turnovers were fluky a little bit. Like the one it was just punched out that led to a touchdown. The last one was a horrible throw by Drew Brees. And yet the game was still relatively close. Had it not been, how many turnovers? Is 4 turnovers, 3 interceptions? You can't win a game when you do that. And granted, is that the offense making mistakes, or is it a great defense causing it? It can be argued chicken and egg sort of philosophy there. But I don't think this time around Aaron Rodgers will make that same mistake. I don't think he'll throw as many, especially not at home. So I think that will reduce things down to a little more even game. But I think it's not looking at that first game. It's hard to really compare that one and translate what happened in that one into what's happening now. When we're talking over 2 months ago. So if you look at where they're playing right now, I think Tampa Bay's defense looking great, Green Bay's offense and run game looking awesome. I feel like that edge it's going to be 2 forces: a strong offense, again, a great defense. And then the question is, Tampa Bay's offense, like you said, they didn't have to do too much. They didn't do that much. Gronk had 1 catch. Antonio Brown had 1 catch. It was like they did minimum, and granted, that's all they had to do. And that's why they probably didn't have to risk too much either. They had such a short field to work with. So we never got to see what their offense could really do. But, I think it's going to come down to it. If Green Bay plays as comfortably and confident as they did against the Rams last week, I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be able to have enough to stop them. It's going to be close, though.
There's a lot of things that really go into this matchup. And if I were to put money on the line for this game, if I were to actually bet on this game and I had to put down like every dollar that I own to my name, I would bet on Green Bay because I think that is a safer bet. I think that when you look at all the different times throughout the years that Green Bay, or at least recently at Seattle, at Atlanta, at San Francisco last year, where they've played in the NFC Championship game, the big common factor when they've lost all those 3 games is that they're on the road. And Aaron Rodgers came out and said he's been waiting for the opportunity to have the entire playoffs come through Lambeau. Now he has the opportunity to have the entire playoffs come through Lambeau. And guess who's coming to town? The guy who he's envied the situation of the past 20 years in New England. So you have an opportunity at home to take out the guy who you have been jealous of his situation for the longest. So I see a lot of motivational factors here for Aaron Rodgers. Obviously, a very rare opportunity where he has a chance to host a championship game, despite the fact that there are limited fans in the arena. That fan base was still going crazy. I'm concerned about Tampa Bay for a lot of reasons. I've seen their offense and their defense get exposed this year, sometimes in different games, sometimes in the same game. The 30-38 loss to New Orleans, both were exposed. I think the biggest key for Tampa Bay in this game, they need to control the clock and they need to run the football. The biggest, most exposing game that I saw, or one of the most exposing games that I saw from Tampa or from Green Bay this year was the Tampa game, of course, 38-10, the 2 picks, the pick 6, and the McCringleberry dance. Remember, wasn't Green Bay up 10-0 in that game before going down 10-38? And you remember the McCringleberry in the end zone. I don't know if you guys know that celebration from Key and Field. The 3 pumps, that was hilarious. I hated to see him doing it, but then I loved to see what happened to him afterwards. But the formula that Minnesota used when beating Green Bay at Lambeau, running the football the entire game, that's what I want to see Tampa Bay do in this game. Everything was clicking last time for Tampa. We've seen a lot of matchups this postseason already, where even though it was divisional foes, when teams re-meet in the playoffs, the team that's been losing before has won. So there's a lot of stuff going for Green Bay. I believe Tampa Bay. I believe in Tampa Bay. I wouldn't bet money on it, but my heart says it, and I'm sticking with them. Tampa Bay runs the football, controls the clock, 30-29 victory.
Do you really want to see Tom Brady in the Super Bowl?
Yes.
With the city hosting his team? You guys actually want to see that?
Well, here's my logic with that. Because I understand the first time hosting a team ever, but the whole Brady versus Rodgers in the Super Bowl thing, Rodgers has been to one, and he's won one many, many years ago. Brady's consistently, he's already the GOAT, man. Who cares if he gets to another one? And then we're going to root against him anyways. Whoever comes out of the AFC, I'm rooting for. And that's why I want Buffalo to win, because I don't want Kansas City to win twice in a row. So I'd rather have Buffalo in that matchup. I want Buffalo over whoever comes out of the NFC. But Tom Brady goes to another Super Bowl, or Aaron Rodgers gets to a second. I don't want to hear from Aaron Rodgers for 2 more weeks. Logically, that means go Tampa Bay and go Buffalo.
So you're going with he's been there so many times, what's one more, as opposed to State Farm insurance poster boy getting one, and then he's going to be all, high on his horse because he finally won the second one after how many years has it been? Like over 10 years or whatever?
11 years.
11 years.
Cocky. He's already cocky.
Yeah. That's why it's a lose-lose situation, man. The only way this works out is when they get one of those teams gets their heart broken by an AFC team, preferably the Bills, who really could use the lift of that and deserves to have a championship. So that's, I guess, from a hope and my heart standpoint, I can't root for Brady, man. I can't do it. I can't do it. I gotta have Bills, Packers, and the Bills have to win that game. And if it can't be the Bills, then it's gonna have to be Kansas City, because they are probably on paper the best team as long as they have a healthy Patrick Mahomes. Now, that's a big question about Mahomes. He's got that concussion thing. He's got some weird toe thing. those were all weird injuries, by the way. I still can't, from the life of me, after watching the concussion replay of that play, how he got kind of pulled down and I still understand where the concussion happened. Do you guys? It doesn't even make sense how he got the concussion on that play, because normally you see it, it's like a big bam or head to the ground bam, or this guy's thing. It was a weird kind of, he just sort of rolled down, and I don't even understand how he got the concussion there. But
I was kind of thinking a neck injury.
Yeah, it looks more like a neck injury because he got pulled down by it, but they're calling it a concussion. But yeah, it looked more like it'd be a neck injury. So I guess we'll. But
we'll see. I will say this real quick for whatever it's worth. If Tom Brady was in New England, I'd be rooting against him. But because he isn't in New England, I'll be rooting for him.
I suppose. I mean, the New England is already. I made a video. I think I mentioned it before. I made a video why I feel sorry for New England, for Patriots fans. And it's for this very place they're at right now, talking about the fact that a lot of these guys who are fans of New England don't know anything else except winning AFC championships year after year after year. And if you grew up with that, you don't know anything else. You don't know what it's like to be the team that's out or not make the playoffs. And now they're finally getting that taste of it. So we've already gotten a little taste of the Belichick, Patriots finally seeing what it's like to hit the low end of the division. So now we just need Tom Brady to get his. He has to come right with a heartbreak in here. I mean, I got to have both of those guys too. I can't have just because one goes down. I can't have the other one. Okay, it's just sorry. It's a package deal, man. I just can't have it. There cannot be an NFC winner in the Super Bowl this year. Just cannot be. It's going to be disaster. Anyway, all right. So there's that game. So you guys could put your in the chat. Put your score predictions, who you're rooting for, who you think's going to win, and we'll compare notes on all that. I guess there's a good time as any to transition a little bit back to Seattle. There's a lot going on. I know I didn't realize how much. I've been just getting a lot of people hitting me up on DMs asking, so is it true, Norb, that Russell may not be back? That we had, it's to the point now where I think ever since those press conferences where we had Pete Carroll saying we have to run the ball, not just better, but more, and then Russell Wilson saying I got to be in on the conversation on who's our next OC, and the fact that we don't have an OC yet, and all that stuff. I mean, the feeling right now, it feels like in Seattle to most 12s is that they're afraid that this union is broken, that our team is fractured, that there's discontent between Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, and that even an OC coming in is not going to help because the problem is you've got a coach who thinks this way and Russell Wilson now who thinks this way, and they're not going to be able to reconcile their differences. As we're waiting for an OC to come, I mean, do you guys think that are people just overreacting? Are people just putting too much out there because of reading too much into things? Or do you think there's truth to where there's smoke, there's fire? Squabble, let's start with you. Is this overreaction, or do you think there's some truth to this matter?
I sure hope this is an overreaction, and I'm going to choose not to believe this just for my sleep at night's sake and moving forward, because I am terrified of losing Russell Wilson. I'm terrified of losing Pete Carroll. I want us to keep both of these individuals. And what I think this comes down to is, first of all, we know Russell Wilson. What does Russell Wilson always talk about? It's not about him. It's about the team. It's about winning. It's about success. And if we can make sure that he believes the best way to be successful is by running the football first, and by doing so, allowing or not allowing pass rushers to pin their ears back and expect the pass and to roll out and to run RPOs, run pass options, and allowing Russell Wilson to be the decision maker on the field, which in a sense is cooking, allowing him to switch in and out of plays, but calling a run initially, perhaps. I think if we can get him to believe that is the most successful formula, that's the best way to fix this relationship, if it is one at all. Russell Wilson should want to be in on the offensive coordinator decision because he's going to be the one that has to learn the offense and teach it to everyone else, and he's the face of the franchise. So I think that's a completely normal question. I think he just needs to be convinced whatever offensive coordinator comes in, and I have a suggestion for the new guy because my last guy, Mike McDaniel, got promoted to the offensive coordinator for the 49ers very wisely instead of Seattle being able to snag him. So I do have a suggestion for the guy that I want in Seattle, and you guys have thrown his name out a whole lot, but I'll wait on that. But essentially, I do not believe these rumors just yet. Just because I think Russell Wilson does want what's best for the team, not just what's best for him statistically. He's already got paid. He's already a part-time owner of the Sounders. He's going to stay in Seattle. He's not going anywhere. But I do think he rightfully so wants to be in on the conversation for offensive coordinator. And I just think he needs to be sold on someone. And that's why the guy that I pick is the guy that I pick.
All right. Well, Alina Dahl in the Super Chat, one of our moderators, says, what does Crisosmo think about Tom Brady? LOL. Tom needs another ring like we need another zit. Shaking my head.
Well, Crisosmo, my 49ers sucked this year, so I had to root against Seattle in any form, and they got knocked out, so I'm okay with that. But, Patriots are all right. Go Tom Brady, yeah. I mean, wait, it's not the Patriots. Wait, so the other team, it's that Bay team. Okay, Buccaneers, yeah. They look kind of like the 49ers colors. Yeah, go Tampa Bay.
All right, that's what Crisosmo would have to say about that. So, Steezy, what do you think? Do you buy into this rumor at all? Are you, or do you feel solid that at the end of the day, just like all the other rumors we've heard, when Russell Wilson's going to go to New York because Sierra wants to be, her career needs to be in New York, and this and that, is this just more of that kind of stuff? People overreacting, or do you think this could be a legitimate deal? And before you answer that, Van Ned in the Super Chat just said, people are looking for a correlation to associate with. However, this does not always adhere to causality or emotion. Go Hawks. So with that said, good point. Steezy, your thoughts on this rumor or fact? What do you think?
I think there's a little bit of both, but, I'm kind of with Squab here too. I just think that with Pete Carroll giving Russ a chance to cook, through week 8, week 9, I think that gives Russell Wilson hope, and it gives him faith that, maybe Pete Carroll is willing to try something new. He is willing to adjust to, the personnel that they have, because based on the personnel that we have right now, it does suit to a more, I think, a passing game type of or a passing game oriented type of offense. It doesn't mean we're not going to run the football anymore. Pete Carroll in one of his press conferences did talk about we're not looking to run the ball 50 times a game. He's just looking for an offensive coordinator that can help, coordinate, and help to scheme up better run games and all that. But I think that, last season, being that Pete Carroll kind of gave Russell Wilson control through week 8, week 9, I think that gives him faith, and that gives him hope that, it's not just going to be a run-focused attack, in that we're just going to continue to run the football and ground and pound and not let Russ do his thing. And so I think that if Pete Carroll didn't let Russ cook this past season, I think that if that never had happened, then maybe we'd be at a point now where it's like, oh my goodness, like, these guys could actually split. There's a chance that these guys could actually split or divorce. But being that, Pete Carroll gave him a chance, I think that Russell Wilson, he's just going to have to maybe convince Pete a little bit. But, I think that it can be done, and I think that it will be done. These guys, they need each other to win, and they have won before, and they won together. They won a lot. And so, I believe that they'll continue. There's a few things that they're going to have to kind of, come together on philosophically. But I think that it can be done, and it will be done.
Ancient Hawk 48 says in the Super Chat, coincidentally, these teams already faced each other in Week 6. You guys talked about that. And it's going to be Chiefs versus Bucks in the Super Bowl. So there's another prediction on somebody thinking Tom Brady is going to go. So my feeling on it is I think there's over-reading into both of those points, because I think people think when they say let Russ cook, that means throw the ball 50 times or more a game. And if they hear Pete Carroll say we need to run the ball more often and better, that means we're not going to throw the ball except like maybe 20 times or less, and we're just going to run. I think those are both wrong. And again, as I was watching that Packer game, that balance of run and pass and the way they designed both when the quick releases, that's the combination of everything. That was Aaron Rodgers cooking. That was the ground game running enough to the point where when the Rams bit on the play fake, Lazard was wide open down that to get that back-breaking final touchdown. That's because the run game had been tearing them up, because 10 yards a pop, 5 yards a pop. Those guys had to come up and help out in the run game. So I think we were seeing both. I think both can coexist. I wanted to see, and I think I brought this up multiple times, but that game against Seattle against the Rams, Chris Carson had the same average he's had all season, 4.8 yards per carry, the entire season and in that game. Cam Akers had 4.7 yards per carry in that same game. Yet he had over 150 yards rushing, and Chris Carson had half of that. Why? Because he also got half as many carries. So, again, we never committed to it, and we didn't run enough, and we didn't run creatively enough. I saw it, on that point, I agree completely with Pete Carroll. And as far as letting Russ cook, there's still a way of doing it where it doesn't have to be long balls. It shouldn't all be long balls. We got to work in that intermediate stuff, because cooking doesn't mean many and deep. We saw that. I think that was what we saw in the beginning of the year, but they took away the many and deep. But there's still a lot in here where you can still throw the ball, Russ, but it might be, it might be a 2-yard throw with a 8-yard catch, or, a reception where you just toss the ball to David Moore around the end. That counted as reception too. So, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't have to be one or the other. So, I'm optimistic that that's not what it is, that they're not that far apart. But I think they do need some creativity. That stuff you talked about, Squabo, when you talked about the play with Green Bay at the line of scrimmage against the Rams, where it was won on paper before the play was ever executed. We need more winners like that. And that is a coaching scheme. And that is something we do need, an offensive coordinator who will take it to the next level and say, I know what you want to do, Pete. Russ, I know what you want to do, but I know what's going to work with the players we got. Let's put them in some positions to succeed. So, all right. Any other thoughts? You guys want to talk? I'm ready to move on to. I said we'd talk a little bit of a couple of our free agents. There's a lot of them, so I wanted to at least get a few of the key ones, the most expensive ones off the top, and just get your guys' thoughts whether we should re-sign them or not. Unless you guys had any more thoughts on the OC. Oh, you did. You had an OC name you wanted to mention. So let's hear it, because right now a lot of guys are off the table. Even Coach Doug Peterson. It's now rumored that he's thinking about just taking the year off because he's already been paid. He's been paid for this year, or next year, and I think the year after that. He doesn't even have to work. He's already going to get the same contract that he already did, so why rush back into it? So he may not even be in the running either. So I'm curious to hear who is your pick, Squabo, for OC at this point.
So first things first, can we just remove Adam Gase from the conversation for
yes,
OC?
Please.
Can we just take his name?
Why are they even having a conversation? Somebody said that maybe we're doing that just so that you lower everybody's bar to a point like, oh my God, you're going to talk to who? And so anybody else you get will make you go, well, at least it's not Adam Gase. I'm fine with anybody you guys get, just not him. So maybe that's what they're doing. But yeah, let's just take Adam Gase off the table, please, for crying out loud. All right, so let's assume that's not the case. Run with it, man.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people like the Doug Peterson thing. I was against it because of the fact that he lost his last locker room, and I don't want to see him lose this one, especially when we're talking about question marks between Wilson and Carroll on philosophy. If you want to lose your quarterback, Doug Peterson is a fine example and a great person to bring in if that's the case, and we are trying to run Wilson out of town. If we don't replace him in the second round with a quarterback as well, just like what happened to Wentz. But what I will say about our offensive coordinator, the guy that I did want, Mike McDaniel, no longer available. So I'm going to regurgitate a name that you guys have thrown out there, and he's always been an option on my list, but he just wasn't the most wanted candidate. And there's still some guys available. Shane Steichen, offense coordinator for the Chargers, still available. Eric Bieniemy, but he's obviously looking for a head coaching job. But the guy that I want us to go after now, the guy that I think would send the right message in this locker room and have the right mentality, and not only is a leader of men, but he's a guy that didn't get fired for hitting the floor, the base, like an Adam Gase did. He's a guy that didn't get fired for having a horrible record. He's a guy that got fired for not being able to break over the top and to make it into the playoffs and to advance further or to get into the playoffs, essentially, and that's Anthony Lynn. I think the fact that he's a former running back, the fact that he preaches physicality, he can culminate a locker room. He can clearly, as head coach, he cannot get it done, but he's a guy that everyone loves. He's a guy that guys want to believe in, that people will run through a wall for. He's a guy that has the stature and the respect and demands it, that he could tell a DK Metcalf to chill out on the sideline, hopefully, and how things are supposed to be run, and people can believe in him, and he's widely respected. So for a locker room that's kind of wavering a little bit, at least in the media's perspective, why not bring in a solid name that guys can rely on, guys can lean on, runs the same philosophy because he's a running back as a Pete Carroll, and guys are forced to respect and to trust in him, a guy that didn't just hit the floor but couldn't break through the ceiling, put him into a lesser role, allow him to play his role and use his role to the best for Seattle's success.
All right. So Anthony Lynn. So Seahawks Martin, back in the round table. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, sorry I came late. Piano came early. My brother was at the doctor, so yeah.
That's all right. Usually you're here and then you have to leave. This time you weren't here and now you're back. So are you here for the rest of the hour to do trivia with us to close out the show as well?
I hope so. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I believe that's what I'm going to do.
All right. I'm glad you're here. So in case you missed it, Martin, we were talking about we've talked about a lot of things, but we've kind of moved on to discussing about the just a little bit about the offensive coordinator and just the issue of Russell Wilson and Pete Carroll. Is there really an issue between them, as a lot of people are feeling right now, or is it just more rumor and overreaction? Squab just made a strong case in who he wants to see at OC. Did you have somebody, Steezy, who you felt like you feel strongly about as a candidate?
Anthony Lynn. Once again, I'm with Squab, and we're already kind of in talks with him. Well, I know we've been in talks with him, with Gase, with Peterson, but I think Anthony Lynn is a perfect candidate. If it isn't going, or if it can't be Mike McDaniel, then I'm totally fine with Anthony Lynn. Squab mentioned he's a former running back. He's a former running backs coach as well, and he definitely had the respect of everyone in the Chargers locker room. While they didn't win very many football games, while he didn't do the best job of managing late game situations, they did mess up a lot of those in a lot of those type of situations. But at least over here, he's not going to be the head coach, and so he won't be in charge of stuff like that. But just in terms of running the offense, in terms of doing what Pete Carroll wants to do, in terms of running the football, he knows what that's all about. And so I think he's definitely the perfect candidate. Right now, just because some of our other options aren't available anymore. So,
all right, Seahawks Martin, do you have a different name in there? And what's your thought about this? The state of the top of the pyramid, at least when it comes to Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson. What's your thoughts on that? And do you have an offensive coordinator in mind?
I was thinking Anthony. I was thinking Doug Peterson, but now that the news broke out that he wants to skip this year. I went back to Anthony Lynn, and then before I came into the Zoom, Squab and Steezy hit all the points I was going to make. So that kind of sucks that I didn't get to be the first. And then as for Russell and Pete, it seems like there might be some sort of broken chemistry between them. Russell, I don't know. He just seems a little he doesn't seem like he's talking to Pete as much. I noticed that on the sidelines, he's talking to other guys that doesn't include Pete. As for the Pete's game plan, run first, that can work sometimes. But when you have such a horrible O-line like we have right now, it's not going to work all the time. You could tell. Chris Carson couldn't find all the holes. O-line was getting banged up. That didn't help. So I felt like both pass heavy, run heavy is not going to work very well. I want to just split it down the middle, kind of do a balance.
All right. So you've already made your point about that. You feel like there's a little bit of friction in there. OC. So you're kind of thinking along the same lines of these guys that Lynn might be the front runner at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. We'll see if there's any other surprises out there, and just hopefully not a surprise. Somebody in the chat said trade Russell Wilson for Sam Darnold and Adam Gase. Yeah, right. And shoot me right here. Okay.
I hope it's a joke.
All right, let's talk
about stuff like that.
Yeah, it's crazy. I know we have some people. Let's talk a little free agency before we get into the to the trivia to wrap things up. So we're obviously not going to get through all of them because there's so many here, but I want to start with the top ones. So if you guys could see this on your screen, this is a list I took off of Above the Cap, or is it Over the Cap, whatever that website is, that talks about the current salaries and the cap situation. So these are our top, based on salary this year, these are our top unrestricted free agents right now. So let's just talk maybe about the first 5, maybe 6 up there, and then we'll probably have to break this up over a few different shows. But we've got KJ Wright. He's the number 1 right now on that list in terms of unrestricted free agent, $7 million salary. Right behind him, Greg Olson, same thing. Bruce Irvin, we got our money's worth there, didn't we? $5,500 salary. He was good for what, 2 games? Quentin Dunbar, there's another steal of a deal. $3,500. He played what? Maybe a combination. What felt like maybe 3 games, if he was even healthy for half of those. And then we got Jacob Hollister. And then Benson Mayoa, I guess was the first one. So I guess we just start at the top, and this is one I know will be quite debated. Is KJ Wright? What do you guys think? Do we bring him back? Yes or no? We can start with you, Steve.
Oh, we got to. What? He probably had arguably the best season of his career. I don't think he's past his prime just yet, and he's an embodiment of the Seahawks culture, especially what we do, in the locker room and just on the field. And I don't see why not. I mean, unless he's demanding like $15 million or more, I don't think the number gets that high. But as long as I'd say if he's at around 11, maybe 12 million max, then I'd be cool with it. But we are going to save some money because there's no way we're bringing back Greg Olson at $7 million. No way we're bringing back Bruce Irvin at $5 million. And to be honest, I don't think we re-signed Shaquille Griffin, who I didn't see on that list. But I think that, we're going to have to pay him just a little bit more than that $7 million that we paid him last year. But I'd be fine with around 12, maybe even 13 million. But if it's anything above 13, he can get out of here.
Wow. So he's not on the list. Shaquille he's on the list, but he's in the bottom because his salary wasn't that high. Again, I'm going off of last year's salary, so he's still on the cheap deal.
Gotcha.
So you want him back. I guess really the question is just, do either of you guys, Squabo or Martin, do you feel like you wouldn't bring him back? I certainly think he deserves to be brought back. One of his best years that he's had recently. Any disagreements there? I guess it just comes down to money, like Steezy said. But Martin, Squabo, any disagreement that you don't think KJ Wright deserves at least another year with the Seahawks?
He needs to stay back. Like Steezy said, it just depends on how much he wants. If he wants too much, something that we can't afford to do, then I guess he has to go out. And I mean, he's a little. He's getting up there. He's a little past his prime, but still really good. A really good leader. Really good for the locker room. And of course, you see him on the field. He is aggressive. And so I would want him back unless the price is too high, if he wants the price to be way too high for us.
Squabo, any difference there? Thoughts on keeping KJ?
I would get rid of everyone else on this list just to keep KJ Wright. That's how important KJ Wright is, not only to this locker room and to this team and to this defense. He comes over, switches positions, plays a fundamental role in our defense's physicality all season long. We've seen him bring in one-handed interception. We've seen him tip balls at the line of scrimmage. Every single time we need a play, KJ Wright was the best linebacker in Seattle last year. It wasn't Bobby Wagner. It was KJ. KJ showed up and made plays when it mattered the most. KJ was the biggest impact player. KJ was the one that laid the wood on Kyle Juszczyk, even though it's a good friend of his, and set the tone for Seattle when it mattered the most. KJ's the one that blew up on multiple plays, not just the 4th down play against the Rams when we won the division against them. KJ's the one that blew up Tyler Higbee and made Jordan Brooks available to make that tackle in the backfield. So KJ played a phenomenal role all season long. KJ did have his best season of his career this past year, playing a new position with a different role, and it's a great thing to see moving forward. KJ was the best linebacker in Seattle last year in terms of impact, and I would literally get rid of everyone else on this list if that was the only way to keep KJ Wright.
Ah, all right. Well, that's pretty unanimous there. All right, so Greg Olson, I'll just say I've been practicing a little more my Madden from all the tips I've learned, from all the coaching tips I've gotten from you guys, viewers out there. And I must say, I've been tearing it up with Greg Olson as tight end. I'm just saying, I found this play that is has been money. And so on Madden, I don't want to get rid of Greg Olson. But as far as this team, I think it might be that time for him to hit the commentating booth. So I'm ready to let that $7 million salary and whatever he might be asking for.
You should play the franchise mode in Madden or something. I want to see you.
I'll explore that in the offseason. It's definitely one of those things once the season's done. But yeah, so Greg Olson, I can do without. You guys disagree? Anyone disagree?
Yeah, he should be out. Go ahead.
I think if we can bring him back at the veterans minimum, then I can envision a scenario in which he comes back. He is still kind of contemplating whether or not he wants to retire this season. I know he does have a job, as a color commentator or whatever for Fox, but I feel like because he was injured this year, I feel like because of that, unexpected exit at the hands of the Rams, I think that he feels like there's unfinished business. And, he's still definitely a great presence in the locker room. And being that our tight end position, we didn't get a whole lot from it this season. Definitely not what we had expected, going into the season. But I just think that as long as it's at the veterans minimum, definitely bring him back if he wants to come back. But if it's anything more than the veterans minimum, then he can skedaddle.
And I think it goes without saying that any of these numbers, the fact that they're in rank from highest salary to now, that if any of these guys are willing to come back on a minimum scale, I think that kind of changes the equation on somebody who would say, well, if they demand anything close to what they got paid, probably we go like, well, Greg Olson, yeah, we're done. But wait, what? You want to come back for some peanuts? Okay, come on, we'll have you. So yeah, that'll I think will always be the situation there. So
no, but. One of the reasons why I feel the way that I do is I feel like he could also mentor some of the younger guys that we have. Colby Peterson, he didn't play a single snap for us last year. I feel like he can be a great mentor for him. Will Dissly, he's still pretty young. And so being that he wasn't, I guess, exactly a legend at tight end, but he's, been a steady veteran and he's been a Pro Bowler. So I think that he's the perfect mentor for those type of guys. But that's kind of
that's a good point. That's a good point. It's the off the field, it's the tutoring, that aspect could be huge. You bring up a good point. I have to eat some crow here because at the beginning of the season, remember when we talked about what we were expecting out of our team and predictions of certain positioning areas? And I swore that I thought our tight end department was going to be like the best part of this team. I thought if Will Dissly's healthy, he's going to tear up the league and all this stuff. And man, was I so wrong about Dissly, man. He got one touchdown? Did he get one? Maybe two?
Was it very many?
Not a lot, though.
Yeah, maybe
he got
two.
At least one.
He got one for sure, and I have to question myself. He had two. The most productive tight end, once again, was Jacob Hollister from an offensive standpoint. And Coach Maraj loves the guy when he breaks down his technique and everything. But, man, I was expecting a lot more. I mean, I really was disappointed that we didn't get more, at least offensive output from the tight end department. I was way off on that. I'm the first one to admit that I had a lot higher expectations from that standpoint. Even when Russ was cooking, the tight ends, I know Greg Olson got one early, but they really never, not like the way I'm using it in Madden, man. I got this one play. I think Greg Olson was the leading receiver in yards for he had double-digit receiving yards in this one play, you'll see. But that's fantasy. That's Madden. That's not reality. So sadly, it's stark contrast to what was the reality. But that's just a thought on that. So, tight ends definitely have to rethink that situation. Maybe we don't have what we thought we did. Let's go back to the list. So are we done talking about Greg Olson? What about Bruce Irvin? Hard to say on this one because we didn't see anything. He was there literally for 1.5 games. He played the Atlanta game, and they got injured, I think, less than halfway through the Patriots game, and that was it.
No, that was Blair. That was Blair.
Oh, no, that's right. That's Marquise Blair. But Irvin, I thought he got hurt in the Patriots game, too.
Irvin got hurt.
I think it might have been week 1 against the Falcons.
No, I think Irvin got hurt.
No, he was suited up against the Patriots. I'm pretty sure he got hurt in the Patriots game.
I think it was somewhere in the second half.
Yeah. Okay, but
I think it was.
I'm pretty sure, man. Because I remember
it was week 3.
Really? Okay, no, I was maybe.
I think it was week 2.
Week 2 or week 3.
I know it was at home, and I'm getting those two good.
Week 2 in the Sunday night game.
Yes, Reese, who always gets the trivia right, says Irvin and Blair were hurt in the same game against Patriots. Yes, I knew that. Anyway. So sadly, we never got to see what he could do. I don't even know what he did, but what can you do in a game and a half, right? So Bruce Irvin, I don't know, scratching my head. Obviously, the money would have to be right, but what do you do with him?
I have to go against my gut here. I feel like I think we need to release him. I don't know. He's just getting old. He's already way past his prime. He can still do like a couple things if we bring him back, but I mean, at this point, I think it's time to move on.
Stevie?
I disagree.
Squabble?
Incentive laden contract, make sure that he's on the field in order to get all the money. But when he was there, he was effective. He was one of our best pass rushers in those 1.5 games that he played earlier on in the season. Like he was playing good football. Don't get me wrong.
It's a small sample size, but yeah, okay.
He was a really big piece of our team while we had him.
You have a point there.
And he will have a diminished role because now we have Carlos Dunlap there who's going to be a really big piece of our pass rush moving forward, hopefully. And of course, Jamal Adams starting to get more comfortable with his role too. So Irvin will have lesser of a role, but that also might help him to be more successful because he'll be fresher and able to have more of an impact on those plays. So I think make it incentive laden so that we're not paying him to be injured, but I want to bring him back if at all possible because while he was here for the short time that he was, very impactful.
Like you said, lesser role, hopefully lesser salary as well if he's got no other options and there's no one's fighting for his services. Steezy, any other thoughts on Irvin?
Yeah, I'm of the mindset that I think that he's also kind of in the same thought process as Greg Olson. There's unfinished business here. And I think that he's also trying to finish his career here in Seattle. And I also think that because he's 34 years old, because he's a veteran, because he was a part of some of those Super Bowl teams, he can also be one of those guys in the locker room that can maybe check a DK or maybe, check some of the younger guys. And he's a culture guy. He's a locker room guy. Even still on the field, he's still pretty effective, like Squab said. And so I would like to bring him back. It doesn't even have to be at the veterans minimum. Just maybe, $3 million, $3.5 million at the most. Just definitely not $5 or $4 million. But, he is still a guy that I want to see in the locker room. And, because he only played a game and a half, I would like to see what he can do in the span of a full season. And once again, obviously it's going to be in a diminished role, like Squab said, but that's going to help him. You see a whole lot of pass rushers having great years as they head towards their mid to late 30s just because they're fresh. We saw with Julius Peppers, he was playing until he was 38, 39. And obviously he's not of that caliber, but it just goes to my point. Even as pass rushers get older, if they're playing in, less snaps or they're playing in only certain packages, then they can still be effective. And so Bruce Irvin, he still has some of that speed. He's still effective. He still get after the quarterback, but I'll be in a limited role, but I would like to see him back. And I think he will be back.
All right. So maybe there is the chance they could bring him back. So let's go to Quentin Dunbar, man. Talk about if there was any more preseason hype / drama / everything about this player, to have it just completely almost be something that, we really have, like, what was that all about? Because all that off-season stuff with the robbery and the briberies and this and, hey, he's free. He's going to be a Seahawk. All that stuff. And we never really even saw what he could do on the field because I think he was injured the whole time. He never really looked comfortable on the field. But does that mean at 29 years old, going on 30, could he still be a guy to compete with, well, I don't know. If we're talking about not bringing back Shaquille Griffin, well, we're going to have serious needs at cornerback again. So what do we do about Quentin Dunbar? Martin?
I say we drop Quentin Dunbar. DJ Reed's better. I'm just going to put it there.
So you're penciling in DJ Reed at one of the corner spots already at this point. And did you say you think Shaquille Griffin should go, or you haven't really said anything about him yet?
No, I think Shaq should come back. He's pretty effective in my opinion. He doesn't get the picks, but he's pretty locked down. And so I guess that's why he doesn't get all the picks that you think he'd get. He's really good at knocking down passes, covering. And whenever he does get picks, those are really good picks. So I say we keep him. I say we keep Shaq.
All right, we'll have to break Shaquille Griffin, I think, demands much more of a debate because there can be argued. He can be really good, and he can be not so good as well. Squabo, your thoughts on Quentin Dunbar?
This is the tough one. I'd say I am okay with whatever happens to Quentin Dunbar because of the fact that he caused so much drama, even if he wasn't around it, and then didn't do anything. So I'm okay if we move off of him. I would love to try and bring him back on a minimum, but I went through all of the free agents and put check marks next to the ones I wanted to keep or get rid of. And Dunbar was one of the last ones that I just really can't figure out. I love his potential. I hate what he brought to the table this year. So I'm okay either way. I say the bare minimum, bring him back, give him one more shot.
Wasn't it the Buffalo game where he looked like he was playing super hurt? I mean, he looked like he shouldn't have been wearing a uniform that day. I mean, that just added to the disparity between what the Bills were doing to us and how badly we lost. Steezy, your thoughts on Quentin Dunbar?
We got to bring him back. You know, just because I'm also of the mindset that Shaquille Griffin, I don't want to bring him back just because I already know what he's going to demand. And as a young cornerback in this market, in this day and age, whether he deserves it or not, he's going to get paid. And I don't think that we should be the team that's going to pay him. And so with that said, we got to bring back Quentin Dunbar. I understand, he brought a whole lot of drama to the team last year, but he played hurt all year long. He wasn't really fully himself. And while PFF's system is flawed, or however you may think of PFF and their grading system, let's not forget. And this was the one thing that we were lamenting going into the season. All of us, Quentin Dunbar was the number 2 ranked cornerback by PFF. And we didn't get to see that version of him last year. And so, this year, he's not going to ask for a whole lot of money. Obviously, he didn't have a great year. He played hurt, so he's not going to ask for the world. I think he's probably going to come back on a 1-year prove-it deal. I don't care if it's the veteran minimum. I don't care if it's $3, $4, $5 million. I think that potential far exceeds, what could possibly go wrong going into this season. And so, I think he has a lot to prove. He's going to be highly motivated. He's still fighting for that contract. He's one of those guys who kind of got it out the mud. He's never really been a highly touted prospect. And Squab did a great job of detailing some of his past in one of his videos from a while ago, but I think he's hungry. And then going to this next season, he's going to be even hungrier. And so, I would like to see him unlock his potential here in Seattle, as long as he stays healthy, of course. But he's definitely a guy I want to see us bring back, whether that's at the veteran minimum or whether that's at 3, 4, 5, 6 million. I think he should come back.
Yeah, well, I think we all want to see him at his potential best. It's kind of hard to judge somebody when you didn't quite see the full goods, So yeah, you're right. Because when the news broke that we were getting him, I remember how we were on the round table talking about how excited we were to see this guy. Right? We couldn't stop talking about it, and then the drama all went down. I was like, wait, what? He might be in prison? What? So then when he didn't go to prison, we were like, hey, he's coming. We were so thrilled to see it. And it was so disappointing that we never got to see that. But yeah, you're right. Martin, DJ Reed became the surprise guy who none of us had any expectations from. He just sort of slid under the radar. I was on the team, like, oh, DJ Reed's on the team. That's nice. And all of a sudden, bam, this guy's coming out just killing it. Yep. All right, let's talk about one more, and then we'll move on to trivia here, courtesy of questions from, who did I say it was from? Cameron Hughes. Cameron Hughes. Cameron, thank you for your trivia suggestions. All right, so the final one, we talked a little bit about this. Jacob Hollister. Jacob Hollister, in my opinion, he's one of those guys who you just never thought you would be talking so much about. Because I don't think you would normally look at him and go, hey, this guy's going to be one of your studs in the tight end department. He's not that big. He's certainly not a name you'd ever kind of put on a tight end pedestal group as going, watch out for this guy. And yet he was sort of like the best tight end productivity-wise out of our entire tight end department in a rather disappointing tight end group situation. And Guero Mungia says Buffaloes and Packers in the Super Bowl, but Buffalo will win the Super Bowl. Okay, I can live that.
That's bold.
All right, so Jacob Hollister, guys, thoughts? Should he be back? See, he has been our most consistent and most productive tight end over 2 seasons. Bring him back or no? Start with you, Martin.
Yeah, we can bring him back. Olson is probably going to be gone. Disley still needs a lot of room for improvement. Hollister's, I guess, the go-to guy. He's been kind of inconsistent this year, as you saw in the Rams game. He was like missing passes left and right. But yeah, once, like you said, Norb, he's the guy that we have to rely on. We should bring it back, cheap deal, something like that. And yeah, let's just see how it goes. Because our tight end room still needs a lot of improvement.
Squabo.
Man, we need to bring back Jacob Hollister. He's performed in the most important games in the playoff game against the Eagles last year, in the divisional game against the Rams this year, and even last year when he ended up losing the game or didn't quite get the inch that would have won us the game against the Niners at home late in the season. He's the one that caught the ball. And he's the one that had a chance to make a play and couldn't quite do it. But he was there for us when it mattered the most. And our other tight ends have been spotty. They've disappeared. They've been hit or miss. And Jacob Hollister has been there for us. So I think you reward him. We need to build our roster in a way to win our division next year and the year after that, and to win throughout the playoffs. And when the games matter the most and when they get the most difficult, Hollister has been there. I believe Steezy's actually been fortunate enough to meet Hollister's dad at the mall at his at his shop. I don't want to steal your thunder. I just want to shout you out, bro, for having done all that and getting to know a little bit about Hollister's family. But I definitely think we keep Hollister.
All right, Steezy, do tell. What is the story that Squabo so leaked to us? How do you know? How did you meet Jacob Hollister's dad?
I mean, it's not too much of a story. I was just kind of working one day, and I've also met DK Metcalf's parents as well, at the same shop. But no, one day, I think it was sometime in the off season earlier this year, and Jacob Hollister's parents came in, and I didn't know they were his parents at first, and I actually kind of forgot how it even got to that point in the conversation. But I remember them just telling me that I think they were looking for they were looking to get a Seahawks hat with Jacob Hollister's signature on one of the hats. And I was like, oh man, we don't have a signature in the system. And I was like, oh, hold on. There's only one reason why. There's only one reason why they'd ask for Hollister, because at that time he was, a very unknown commodity. And so I was like, are you guys, Mr. and Mrs. Hollister? And then, they got into it, and I was just like, hey, do you guys, is he coming back? What's he been working on? What's it looking like? And they were like, yeah, he's just working on, building up some strength. We don't know if he wants to come back. He's just kind of looking for the best situation, but he does love it here in Seattle, and he would love to stay here in Seattle, but we honestly don't know. And so I was like,
that was earlier.
I want him back.
That was before this year, or that was last year?
So it was heading into this year. So it was in the offseason heading into this past season.
Interesting.
And so,
nice.
Yeah, they were real cool, real nice. Real cool, real nice. Yeah.
And how did you meet DK Metcalf's parents? Did his dad walk in with no shirt, with like 8-pack, and go? How did that happen?
So what's it called? There was a couple that came in, and obviously they were his parents. I didn't know at the time, and he wanted to look at the Chicago Bears hats, and I was just like, no one comes in here asking for Chicago Bears stuff. And so he asked me for his assistance. The Chicago Bears hats were all the way up top. The highest shelf, the highest of the shelves. And so, I grabbed the ladder, grabbed it for him. And as we came to the register, I'm about to check him out, or I'm about to ring him out. We're talking, the whole time. We're talking NFL, we're talking Seahawks. And all of a sudden he gives me his phone number because he has a membership. And I see Terrence Metcalf. And I was like, and I was just doing research. Or no, I wasn't just doing research, but I remember when I was doing research for my DK Metcalf video, I remember finding out his dad's name was Terrence, and that his dad played for the Chicago Bears. And so as soon as I saw Terrence Metcalf, I was like, hold on, you guys are DK's parents. And he was like, shh, because we don't want everyone in the store to hear.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh my gosh. I was like, how did I not know? Because I just read the fact that he played for the Bears and he was buying a Bears hat. And so, and I was just like, I forgot that at the moment. I was like, wait, why are you getting a Bears hat? And he was like, bro, I played for the Bears. And I was just like, yeah, you're right. And so, we started talking about DK, and I was like, hey, if you could check me out on YouTube. I gave him one of my business cards, and I was just like, go Hawks, and he was real cool. They were real cool. They were real sweet. He was calling me bro and everything. He's like, what, about 50, 55, 60. And he was just, he was talking like he was one of us. He was calling me bro, butter, all that. And he was just real cool, and he said he was gonna check me out, and actually made them wait a little bit after I rung them out because I didn't have a business card on me, and so I had to run over to the break room to look for one, and so I feel kind of bad for making them wait a little bit because I know they're busy people, but I definitely just it was a great opportunity. It was a great experience, because I noticed that right after that, my subs jumped up by at least 5, and so I don't know how many people that they shared my card with, but I was real blessed to have the opportunity.
Oh, that's great. That's an awesome story. Yeah, that reminds me a story I want to share with you guys. So it's kind of cute. So my wife was she was shopping at I think Dick's Sporting Goods, the local one that not too far from here. And so she was picking up a few things, and then she went to the register, and the guy there was probably like in his your guys' age, early 20s, and so he asks, for my wife to enter the membership, number or the number for the membership number, and she puts it in. So he looks at the thing, and my wife noticed he suddenly got kind of quiet, and suddenly his demeanor changed, and then so he's kind of looking at her, and he goes, are you by any chance, do you know who NorbCam is? Because he, I guess, saw the last name and saw that my wife and I have the same last name. She said, "Oh yeah, that's my husband." She goes, "Oh my gosh, I've been watching him since I was in the 8th grade." And so he was all of a sudden he was just. I mean, I wasn't even there. It was just my wife. But all of a sudden he got real sort of shy, and I don't know if he got sort of starstruck to my wife because all of a sudden he realized, oh, this is NorbCam's wife. But also he wasn't talking anymore. He was all kind of hesitant and stuff like that. But she thought it was the cutest thing because this guy was probably like 21, 22, and he's been watching since he was in 8th grade. So that makes him like 14 or something, 13 or 14. So he's been watching for like 6 or 7 years and stuff. But
oh, gee.
It was pretty funny. She told me that story. I just thought it was pretty hilarious. But anyway. You never know who you're gonna meet. You're never gonna meet in these stores, man. So, all right. Are we ready for some trivia? I think we're good, right? Close the book on that.
Get ready to see me fail again.
Oh, no, you're gonna redeem yourself this time, man. All right, so let's do this thing. Let me go to the trivia screen. You guys get your Kahoot apps or your Kahoot.com ready. And let's get ready to play some trivia courtesy of Cameron Hughes. All right, here is the number coming up right now. Get ready. The number is 810-4994. 810-4994. Here's the best part, watching the names come across. Sky High Aviation, Tyler Greaves, Norbelius, Aidan Pham, Go Pack Go, Gase for OC, Flash, Hawks Mason, Depressed Saints, Norb is Le Chiffre. I'm not sure what that means. Ben Burkervin, Born Balls, Rain City, DJ the Legend, Daddy DK, Sherman Back, Miguel, Seahawks Suck, DK, Terrence Metcalf, Go Bucks, Schmilligard, Norb's Wife, Stop the Steal, Noah's 2 Hairlines, Ball on the 1, Raiders for Myers for MVP, Norb is Hot. Oh, thank you. 810-4994. That's hilarious. That is the number, 810-4994, by the way. Malcolm Butler, Daddy Jalen. Man, you guys are cold. Who dat? Ori Stocks. Norbhawks. Martin for GM. We'll go for another 20 seconds. Again, the number is 810-4994. If you want to play. Go Hawks. Seahawks 56. God Puna. Patch Hair Martin. Norbit. Nick LeBeau. Get Norb to 50K. 10 more seconds. Daddy Norb. Risebeck? I don't know. I'm not sure. Andrew P. 5 seconds. Yarjanis. Defense cord me. NorbCam's hair oil. Norb Biden. Vanessa is cute. Hey, watch it there. Watch it. All right, let's go. All right, we saw that last time. You're towing the line, man. Towing the line. Pete's gum. All right, let's wrap this up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get this show on the road. Where'd Martin go? Oh, there he is. All right, Martin, you ready?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
here we go. Starting now. All right, here we go. 12 questions. Thank you, Cameron Hughes, for the question suggestions. I did mix in a few myself. So, here we go. Question number 1. The Seahawks played which team in their 1976 inaugural opening game? Washington football team, or Redskins at the time, San Francisco 49ers, St. Louis Cardinals, or the Dallas Cowboys? Seahawks played which team in their opening 1976 inaugural game? Washington football team, San Francisco 49ers, St. Louis Cardinals, or the Dallas Cowboys? Time is up. Okay, 11 of you got the correct answer. It was at the time, St. Louis Cardinals. That was the first team they played. Bird against Bird. Let's go to the scoreboard, starting with Steezy. What you got?
I said the Washington football team because I remember one time Coach Marsh was talking about how when the Seahawks were first, starting off as a franchise, they played the Washington franchise a whole lot back then, and so I was kind of just going off that. But
I believe they were that's a good observation skills. I believe they were the second team they played, but not the first. Squabo, what you got?
I didn't know this answer either, and I still think it's funny that like the St. Louis Cardinals is still a franchise. It's just a baseball team. But when I saw these answers, I chose St. Louis with the reason being it was the only answer that like I wouldn't make up if I were trying to distract you. Like you don't just come up with St. Louis Cardinals to try and throw us off. You come up with that because it's the answer. So I went with it.
Oh, that's a good one. Well, truth be told, I mean, I put the first 4 teams we played, so they were all very realistic possible teams here. So, but let's go to Martin. Martin, what do you guess?
So yeah, the thumbs down shows it all. Obviously, I was born in 2007. So I don't have a time machine to go back to whenever. So it went down to St. Louis and San Fran, and every single time I just picked the wrong one. Like the luck always goes the wrong way for me, but I'll take this as a good thing. This means that I'm focusing on school more than sports.
Okay, well, it's only the first question, so we got a ways to go. All right, so Squabo ahead 1-0. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard and see how we're doing here. Aidan Pham, one of the NORBFAM MVPs here, jumps out on top. And Norb is hot is second. Thank you, by the way. Miguel in third. Myers for MVP. And DKD in fifth place. Next question. Number 2. Who led the 2013 Seahawks in kick return yards? Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Golden Tate, or Percy Harvin? Who led the 2013 Seahawks in kick return yards? Doug Baldwin, Jermaine Kearse, Golden Tate, or Percy Harvin? Time is up. Look at that. The least likely. Of course, everybody fell for the Percy Harvin trap. I would have fallen for that as well when I was reading through this. But no, it was actually Jermaine Kearse who led the yardage in kick returns, believe it or not. Your memory might have to go back to remember some of those. But Steezy, let's go to the panel with you.
Damn. Over 2. I said Doug Baldwin. Just because initially I was thinking Leon Washington, but I was like, I think he left after 2012. So, I said Doug Baldwin just because I remember him returning kicks. Jermaine Kearse, I remember returning a few, but not as many. So that's kind of where I was leaning.
I was surprised. My memory was cloudy on this one as well. Of course, everybody remembers Percy Harvin's and the big ones. But so Squabo, let's go to you.
actually remember this one pretty distinctly. It took me a little bit of time to think about it, but I remember that Percy Harvin missed pretty much the entire season, so it couldn't be him. I remember that Golden Tate was big on punt returns, but he wasn't ever big on kick returns, so it couldn't be him. And then I remember Doug Baldwin returning some kickoffs, but I remember him doing that later. And I remember going to the preseason game where Jermaine Kearse returned the kick return for a touchdown, and that he was a really big kick returner in that time compared to the other guys. So I got it right.
I remember the preseason one too, but I can't really remember a lot of other ones. So maybe it just added up. A lot of little ones just sort of added up, I guess.
Throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it wasn't a lot of big ones, but I remember him getting a lot of reps.
Yep, and that's the key in kick returns. So you're getting 20 yards per pop, sometimes more, so it does add up over a whole season. Martin.
Still in the back. My mind was kind of fuzzy. 2013 has been 8 years ago. I went with Golden Tate. I thought that he was a big time returner. Then again, it was punts.
It was punt returner.
I didn't see Jermaine Kearse a lot, but then because obviously Jermaine Kearse was one of those guys in the back. He was the third receiver, whatever it was. Definitely not Percy Harvin, because the dude was out for almost the whole season. And then Baldwin, I know he returned some, but didn't return that much. So I just went with Golden Tate, and yeah, got it wrong.
Tough one. All right, Squabba with 2. Steezy Martin still trying to get on the board. Let's go to this YouTube scoreboard. YouTube scoreboard. All right, it didn't update. Not sure what's happening there. Okay, well, I guess we don't have an update. Let's go to the next question. Which wide receiver leads the Seahawks in yards per carry? Or led? Penny Hart, DK Metcalf, Freddie Swain, or David Moore? Which wide receiver led the Seahawks in yards per carry? Penny Hart, DK Metcalf, Freddie Swain, or David Moore? Time is up. Oh, another tricky one here by Cameron. The name you wouldn't think very much about is Penny Hart. 4 of you got this correct. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard with Steezy.
So I used a little bit of Squab's logic from earlier in selecting Penny Hart. But I also remember, maybe not clearly, but I do remember Penny Hart on a few end arounds in which he gained over 10, 15 yards. And I know he didn't have very many. And so if he was an option, then I was just like, you got to be Penny Hart. And so, he didn't have many, but the few that he did have were explosive. So,
all right. So on the board, Steezy, nicely played. Squabbo.
Man, that's why I didn't explain myself in the past. But I use the same logic. And it's because you don't put Penny Hart on the board to trick people and be like, oh yeah, no, they'll probably think it was him, because nobody would think it was Penny Hart. They said in the chat he had 1 rush for 19 yards, and that's exactly the stat that I remember. So I said Penny Hart as well, by the same logic as Steezy.
All right, so 3 for you there. Nicely done. Batting 1,000 so far. Martin.
That says it all. Again.
His brother.
That's too funny, man.
Once again, I don't know why, but I always jump the gun. I went straight with David Moore, and then I realized that one time Penny Hart had that big run that got everyone hyped up, and then but I gotta be honest, I jumped the gun, and I got it wrong.
Okay, all right, rough start. Rough start. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Let's see if it updates this time. There we go. Mehul Bardwa moves up to first place. Tyler Greaves to second. Aidan Pham drops to third. Norb is hot to fourth. And Miguel drops to fifth. Next question. Number 4. How long was the contract the Seahawks gave Matt Flynn in 2012? 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, or 5 years? How long was the contract the Seahawks gave Matt Flynn in 2012? 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, or 5 years? Time is up. Oh, there you go. YouTube finally got on the winning side of this. 3-year contract. 14 of you guys got this correct. Let's go to this panel. Steezy.
I'm not mistaken, it was a 3-year, $21 million deal.
And you know your contracts. All right, Steezy with 2. Squabo.
I remember it was between 2 and 3, and I don't remember a lot of 2-year contracts, so I went with 3.
All right, man, you're perfect through 4 games or 4 questions. Martin, on the board?
Finally on the dang board.
All right.
Yeah, it was 3. I remember that when we drafted Russell, everyone was criticizing, like, "Wow, you just got Matt Flynn a 3-year deal, blah 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 blah." And then look at what happened now.
Where is Matt Flynn? Did Matt Flynn ever play again after that?
I don't know.
He kind of dropped
I think
off.
he did it with like the Packers or something like that.
Did he really play before that though? Like,
he played 1 game. Remember, he finished the regular season, got a win for the Packers, and that put him up on the radar. Yeah, he had a huge game to win that final game. I can't remember, was it against the Lions or something? I don't remember who the opponent was.
The Bears or Lions?
Yeah, one of those NFC
game.
North teams. Yeah. Yeah,
It was actually 19 million. Sorry.
19. All right. Well, still, not a bad. If you weren't going to work again, $19 million. For I don't know how much was guaranteed, but not a bad deal to just
10.
A front row seat.
Yeah. $10 million. I'll take that. All right. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. See how we're doing here. Mehul stays in first place. Norb is hot back up to second. Tyler Greaves down to third. Sky High Aviation in fourth place. And Sherman back in the top 5. Up 8 places. NORBFAM Nation is the highest climber. Next question. Oh, you still there, Steez?
Sorry.
Okay, just making sure. I don't want you to miss anything. Yeah. All right, here we go. Next question.
Sorry about that.
Who leads the Seahawks in kick returns yards all time? Mo Morris, Leon Washington, Steve Broussard, or Tyler Lockett? Who leads the Seahawks in kick return yards all time? Mo Morris, Leon Washington, Steve Broussard, or Tyler Lockett? Kick return yards all time. Time is up. Oh, another tricky one, Cameron. You're sneaky, sucker. Everybody fell for the Leon Washington. I remember him having a lot of big ones, but Steve Broussard, all-time kick return yardage. Let's go to the panel. Steezy.
All right. Y'all can get on me, but I wasn't sure of Mo Morris and Steve Broussard. I didn't know what those guys were, and so I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be wrong, I'm going to be wrong in picking somebody I actually do know who played for the Hawks. So I was like, I'm going to go with Tyler Lockett. But I wasn't very confident in that answer.
Oh, okay. Rough one. I would have... Leon Washington, I fell for the trap that everybody else did too, because I remember him having a lot of big return yards. Squabo.
Man, my memory is off too, because I said Leon Washington because I thought I remembered like seeing the stats on it and like seeing that Leon was the leading all-time guy. I guess I was very wrong, but I said Leon Washington.
Okay, well, I'm assuming Cameron Hughes did his research. We can verify that later, but for right now, that is the answer. Let's see if Seahawks Martin guessed on this.
Yeah, right. I'm once again, I was born in 2007. I'm only 13. I'm a little boy. I'm only like 4'11". So all of you guys are taller than me. I don't even know who Mo Morris or Steve Broussard was. So I just know Leon Washington. I just felt like he had a lot of explosive returns. I saw a lot of videos of him, so I just know Leon Washington.
Where's your brother to do this again?
He went out with my other brothers.
So Steezy wanted to do some fact checking. It was Broussard. Okay, Cameron Hughes, you got the tricky, got him fooled, got everybody fooled. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Changes. Tyler Greaves shoots up to number 1. Sky High Aviation right behind him. Mehul drops to 3rd. Norb is hot in 4th. And Sherman back in 5th. And up 11 places is Go Hawks, the highest climber behind the scenes. Next question. Number 6. Who is the Seahawks all-time sack leader? Jeff Bryant, Jacob Green, Cortez Kennedy, or Michael Sinclair? Who is the Seahawks all-time sack leader? I believe we've had this before. Jeff Bryant, Jacob Green, Cortez Kennedy, or Michael Sinclair? All-time sack leader. Time is up. And YouTube apparently has a pretty good memory, or they're fast on the keys. Jacob Green, 12 of you guys got the answer correct. Let's go to the panel. I know we've had this before, and maybe more than one time. Steezy.
I'm not too familiar with Jacob Green, but I did know the answer just because I got it wrong last time. And so I remember last time I think I went with Cortez. And so
the
I was
Hall
going to
of
make the same
Famer.
mistake twice.
All right. Smart move. Good memory there. Jacob Green. I believe he's the, is it stepfather to Red Bryant? There's a relation there. I want to say it's something like that.
Yeah, I think that's
it's or father-in-law. Maybe father-in-law. Father-in-law. So I stepped in. Father-in-law. I believe is what it is. Squabo. He was great. Number 79, Jacob Green, by the way.
Last time CZ got this wrong, and I remember getting on him because I asked him the same question on my show, and he got it wrong before that. But no, I knew this answer. I didn't need the options. Jacob Green.
All right. Yes, I thought so. I thought we'd had this more than one time. Okay, Martin. Well, how's your photographic encyclopedia memory?
We're gonna keep this race tight. I got Jacob Green also. I was thinking Cortez, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that time. CZ got wrong, so I want Jacob Green.
So you remembered. Okay, very well played. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Not much changes. Tyler Greaves still in first. Sky High Aviation in second. Mehul in third. NORBFAM Nation in fourth. Go Pack Go gets onto the top 5, and is the highest climber, up 9 places. Next question, past the halfway point. Who is the Seahawks all-time interception leader? Kenny Easley, Eugene Robinson, Dave Brown, Richard Sherman. Another redo from before. Kenny Easley, all-time interception leader. Kenny Easley, Eugene Robinson, Dave Brown, or Richard Sherman. All-time interceptions. Easley, Robinson, Brown, Sherman. Time is up. Wow, pretty even guesses across the board. But if you guessed Dave Brown, you would be correct. The late Dave Brown. Let's go to Steezy.
Got this wrong before, and I got it wrong again. I thought I don't know. I remember hearing Eugene Robinson, and so I was just like, as soon as I saw Eugene Robinson, I was like, oh, that's the guy. But got it wrong again.
Squabo, I think, the way he's smiling, he remembers this one. He's probably asked this too.
No, I didn't ask this one. I got it wrong last time too.
Oh.
But I very well remember it because I was shocked that I didn't. I was like, oh yeah, I probably should know that. But yeah, no, I got it right. I was just like, Norm, are you running out of questions or something, buddy? Like, you need, we can start sending some in.
No, these were Cameron. I believe Cameron Hughes asked these questions, so they are redos. I didn't put it in. This is Cameron Hughes' question right here. But I let it go. I said, well, you know what? It's okay if they're repeats because there's nothing worse than actually getting a question you had before and you go, I know this, but why am I still confused? It's the worst. It's still the worst. So Squabble got it. Let's go with Martin. Martin, I'm pretty sure you've seen this before.
Yeah, so the question came out, I'm like, Dave Brown. And then I see Eugene Robinson, I'm like, maybe it's Eugene Robinson. And I came back to Dave Brown, and then Eugene Robinson. By the time went up, I just didn't know who. So, I mean, I came out with Dave Brown, my first choice, and then I just kind of doubted myself. So I guess I got it wrong.
So you're telling me you thought, in the end, you thought it was Eugene Robinson was your final answer?
I couldn't decide between who. And so time ran out. So
how many times have we said you got to follow your gut, right? If you follow your instinct on the first one, you would have had it. Dave Brown, I think Dave Brown also has the record for most picks in the game, doesn't he? Somebody confirm that? So. I believe he has the most picks in the game. I think it was 4 in the Kingdom.
That's a lot of picks.
Against the Chiefs. I want to say it was against the Chiefs. Anyway.
If you got it like that, good for you, man.
Somebody confirm. There it is. Cameron Hughes. Brown had 4 against the Chiefs. There we go. All right, let's go to... I forget a lot of stuff, but every once in a while I remember something like branded in my memory. That was one of those ones. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Tyler Greaves still in first. Mehul back up to second. NORBFAM Nation up to third. Go Pack Go slides into fourth. Sky High Aviation drops to fifth. We got a tight pack race coming on here. Up 7 places. Flash, the highest climber. Next question. Number 8. Who led the 2010 Seahawks in receiving yards? Golden Tate, Mike Williams, Doug Baldwin, or Ben Obomanu? Who led the 2010 Seahawks in receiving yards? Golden Tate, Mike Williams, Doug Baldwin, or Ben Obomanu? 2010 Seahawks. Time is up. Oh, YouTube guys, you got pretty good at this. Mike Williams, 10 of you guys got this correct. Let's go to Steezy. Do you remember much from this debut year of Pete Carroll, 2010, same year as the Beastquake? What you got?
I do, because this was when Tavares Jackson was quarterback, right?
Actually, Matt Hasselbeck. Still Hasselbeck. Tavares was the backup, but I think.
He was the year after.
Yeah, because he was the next year. Tavares was the next year. But you got this, though. You got this right.
I did, yeah. I remember Mike Williams, he was the only 1,000-yard receiver that year, and I was just like, ooh, he's filthy. But then after a couple years, he kind of just flamed out. So I don't know what happened to do it.
Kind of reminds me a little bit of, what's his name, Super Bowl 49?
Lockett?
No. Chris Matthews. Same thing. He had this.
Yeah, Chris Matthews.
It like ends the season like, oh my gosh, this guy's gonna be a star next year. Then poof. What happened? I think Mike Williams showed up out of shape and stuff. He just didn't quite have the drive or something. All right, so Squabo, what you got?
I believed in Ben Obamanu. I got this one wrong. I just remember he made a lot of catches, and I went for it, but I was wrong.
All right, good. I think he was of the era. All right, so let's go to Martin.
Yeah, just like Squabo, I got Ben Obamanu. Dobo wasn't even on the team 2010. I crossed that out. Golden Tate was still kind of young. Wasn't really working his way up yet, so I crossed him out. So it went down to Mike Williams, Ben Obamanu. Then I tried to make a little logic because I noticed the answers have been like blue and yellow the whole time. So I decided, well, maybe they're trying to try to trick us here. Let's go green. Why not? And then I got it wrong. What is going on?
Oh, man, went for the color strategy. Although that's totally randomized by the computer, so there's absolutely no thought to the color. But good try. So Squabo at 6, Steezy with 4, Martin with 2. And what year was Golden Tate drafted?
I believe it was 2010 or 20. I don't know. Somewhere around. I forgot.
That's a good question.
I don't think he was on this team.
11, I think.
I want to say he was 11, but I'm not sure. I know he was there on 12. I want to say 11.
Cameron Hughes. 2010 second round.
Oh, he was. So he was on the team. Okay, he didn't do much. He had a very quiet first year. Okay, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Cameron Hughes getting the tricky ones in here. Tyler Greaves still on top. Mahul in second. NORBFAM Nation in third. Sky High Aviation slides to fourth. Go Pack Go in fifth. Malcolm Butler up 8 places. Climbing high in the background. All right, tight ball game. Here we go. Next one. Number 9. What was Matt Hasselbeck's touchdown to interception ratio in 2010?
Are you serious?
19 to 10, 12 to 17, 17 to 12, or 9 to 19. This is touchdown to interception ratio in 2010. 19 to 10, 12 to 17, 17 to 12, or 9 to 19. Time is up. Well, YouTube, by a hair, 8 of you got this correct. 12 of 17, not the most impressive ratio by any stretch. 12 touchdowns to 17 interceptions. I don't remember him being that bad, but apparently it was. Yeah, that's a very, what's the word? Out there question. Not one that's on the tip of your tongue. So, Steezy, how was your guessing game here?
I remember this one because I just remember watching damn near every single game that year, and I was just like, my goodness, he needs to retire. His retirement can't come any sooner. But he was real bad that year. So
you got it.
17.
Wow. Okay. Nice. Nicely done. You didn't flirt with the idea of putting 9 with 19?
No, because I knew it was bad, but I knew it wasn't 9-19 bad.
Okay. All right. 9/19. That's my birthday, by the way. 9/19. All right, Squabo. What you got?
My memory is a little bit more foggy, but I started with the numbers game, and I saw that like it was the same numbers flipped like twice, 12 and 17 and 17-12. So I'm like, okay, it's probably one of those. And then this whole trivia has been like shocking. Like the answer's been shocking. So I went with the least likely one, which was 12 and 17, and got it right.
Look at that. Played the numbers game. A little numerology paid off. So, Martin, how about you?
I knew he had a really bad season, so I took out 19-10, 17-12. It came down at 12-17, 9-19. I went 9-19, and then at the final second, something's telling me it was 12 and 17. I know he had a horrible year, And so at the last second, 12-17, barely got it right. So lucky me.
Okay. All right. Wow. Well done, you guys. All right, let's go because coming up next, everything could change. Here we go. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard for this question before we get into Double Jeopardy. So Tyler Greaves still ahead of the pack. NorbFam Nation catching up. Mahul in third. Sky High Aviation in fourth. And Go Pack Go in fifth. And Ball on the one up 13 places, the highest climber. All right, so now we get to the point here where we go double points. So things could really change quickly here depending on the answer. Here we go. Number 10, worth double. In what year did Russell Wilson have the most rushing attempts? 2013, 2014, 2015, or 2012? In what year did Russell Wilson have the most rushing attempts? 2013, 14, 15, or 12? Time is up. Okay, all right. YouTube seemed to be all over this. This was my question insert in this one. It was 2014 Super Bowl 49 year. 13 of you guys got this one correct. I knew it was. Didn't know it was that obvious. Okay, Steezy for 2 points.
Obvious to me because I said 2015 because I was looking back to some of his earlier years, and I remember I think it was 2015 where he had like his career high of like 890 something rushing yards. Maybe I got my years mixed up, but I ended up saying 2015.
I remember that year too. But yeah, no, it was 14. Squabo for a chance to extend the lead.
No, I remembered that his best rushing year was not his rookie year, and that his best rushing year came a little bit later in his career. And 2014 was my gut, but then I thought about that really tempting game where he had 3 touchdowns on the ground against Buffalo, and that game was in 2012. So I went against my gut.
So no points there. Martin a chance to kind of get back into this game, starting off slow, but couldn't make a run in the fourth quarter, a la Russell Wilson on the ground. Martin.
I'm not Russell Wilson. I'm just gonna point that out. I don't care about how much Russell rushes. He's a quarterback. He's supposed to throw the ball. So I don't really focus on his rushing stats. So I had no clue to this question. You guys saw my reaction when I found the question out. I took a wild guess, and I got it wrong.
Oh. Wait.
I went 2013.
You said 13. Okay, all right. So no points. All right. Well, so anything can happen. All right. So no points there. Let's go to the scoreboard and see how things changed there after the double point question. No, Tyler Greaves still hanging on. It's a sizable lead now, 1,700-point lead. We got Mahul in second, Sky High Aviation in third, NorbFam Nation in fourth, and Get Norb to 50K gets into the top 5. And Seahawk Tuck is the highest climber, up 15. So who do we figure? Tyler Greaves is just Tyler Greaves. Huh, I guess we'll find out who the rest of everybody is. All right, next double point question coming up right now. Number 11.
NorbFam's Rishi, I think.
What is Bobby Wagner's Madden 21 rating? 95, 93, 98,
going into it or now?
Or 97? Going into it. Bobby Wagner's Madden 21 rating at the start. 95, 93, 98, or 97? Time is up. All right, YouTube 2 for 2 on the questions, at least for the majority. 98 is the correct answer coming into the 21 season, or I should say Madden 21 season. 11 of you guys got that correct. I don't know how well you follow these ratings, but let's find out. Steezy.
Well, I don't play Madden as much as I used to anymore, but I'm still a big ratings guy. And every single year ratings come out, I'm on it. And so I said 98.
Okay, for the tie. Ties up Squavo temporarily. Let's go to, well, let me see. Maybe reverse this just to make things a little more interesting. Let's see what Martin's got here. Then we'll go to Squavo.
Yeah, this was way too easy. 98. Didn't even have to think.
Okay, all right. So we've got 7 for Steezy, 5 for Martin, but Squabo could take a 2-point lead here over second place, or Steezy, who's temporarily tied. Squabo, I know you're a Madden guy, but are you a Madden ratings guy?
I'm not. And Martin, man, I don't know what you're talking about. This question way too easy. Like, you didn't even have to think about it, man. These are 4 close, reasonable options. And one thing that I haven't seen happen all day was, or I couldn't remember, was the trivia maker going with the lowest option of the 4. And I was like, what better time than now? 93. And I went with it. Because Bobby Wagner didn't have his best season last year. And I thought Madden would account for that. And they gave him a 98, which, I mean, great. You know, I'm happy for Bobby, but I didn't think it was that high of a rating.
Yeah. So when they do the ratings, what was that?
They're a bit over generous at times, and sometimes they kind of go off of like all pros. And because he's like a 6-time, first team all pro, they kind of, I think they're kind of basing off of that. But you're definitely right, though. Squad didn't have his best
so
year.
Does it
even
start,
this year? He didn't have his best year.
Right. So do they have the ratings where they have a number at the beginning of the season, and then at the end, after the whole regular season's done, they come up with a new number, or is it changing like throughout the year?
Every week.
Oh, it's always constantly changing. Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
It fluctuates.
Got it. Okay. All right. So we have a tie game between Steezy and Squabo, 7-7, and Martin still within striking distance. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Tyler Greaves still on top, but only by a mere 600 points. NORBFAM Nation in second. Get Norb to 50K. Jumps up to third. Says he has a 3-answer streak going. Mahul in fourth, and Go Pack Go in fifth place. Where are we? Final question? Final question. All right, here we go. Worth double. For which high school did Bill Marsh coach from the 90s into the late 2000s? O'Day High School, Eastside Catholic, Archbishop Murphy, or Bellevue High School? For which high school did Bill Marsh coach from the 90s into the late 2000s? O'Day High School, Eastside Catholic, Archbishop Murphy, or Bellevue High School? Time is up. Oh, yes, YouTube. You guys have been paying attention, of course. Yes, it was Eastside Catholic. We've talked quite a bit when we reminisce about the old days. Eastside Catholic. 11 of you guys got that one correct. So let's go to the panel. All these teams are really connected, though. O'Day was always a rival. Bellevue High School, I remember watching that game when they went to the playoffs, lost to them at the stadium down there by the Space Needle. And Archbishop Murphy, he went on to coach for them after Eastside Catholic. So let's go to Steezy. What you got, man, to take the lead? Oh, wait, hold on a second.
This one's easy.
Hold on a second. I guess I really need to. No, you go. You already said. We'll go to you. Go to you.
Go to me?
Yeah, yep.
Okay. Yeah, this was easy. I said Archbishop. No, I'm kidding. Eastside Catholic.
Okay. All right. So you got that one. I should have started with Martin, but I know Martin was cheering and whooping, so I think it's pretty sure what you got this one, correct?
Yeah, it was easy. I know it's Eastside Catholic. So, I mean, I don't know what Bellevue High School is, but I know the other 3 are part of the Archdiocese of Seattle. And Eastside Catholic, too easy. So I knew that.
All right, so I kind of killed some of the drama there. I should have started with you, Martin, just to make it all even, but I didn't. So now it comes down to Steezy and Squabo. Squabo for the tie. That's just got to be one of the easiest questions on here. Squabo?
No, don't build it up like that, man. You acting like this is a gimme.
Well, you've had conversations.
No, this was a gimme.
It was a gimme. I know, I'm trying to make it exciting.
I got it right. Yeah, I don't know why that was the last question, man. That was too easy.
It was too easy. Well, I gave one for the. It was just for the group out there. I appreciate it. All right, so I guess we'll settle for the tie between Squabo and Steezy. And Martin, you had a heck of a comeback because you started out real slow and almost pulled it off.
Too slow.
Let's go to the final in the YouTube scoreboard. Here we go. Again, thank you, Cameron Hughes. In third place with 8 out of 12, NorbFam Nation.
Oh.
In second place, 6 out of 12. Get Norb to 50K. And in first place, is it the leader? Tyler Greaves with 8 out of 12. So Tyler, congratulations. Runners up, Myers for MVP and Go Pack Go in 5th place. So Tyler, go take a screenshot of that winning screen. We're going to get you on a future panel here, probably a fan panel, and get you part of that. So congratulations. Well done. 8 out of 12. So there's just a lot of tricky ones. I mean, remember our last game, we had a perfect, two people had 12 out of 12 perfect answers.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
I think it was
three. The whole podium had three perfect 12 out of 12, which is unbelievable. And I didn't think they were that easy. These questions definitely were pretty obscure. So 8 out of 12. So 75% was the best percentage on here. But well done to get the win on that one. So that is good stuff. All right. Congratulations, Tyler Greaves. And thank you, Cameron Hughes, for submitting the trivia for the week. If you guys want to submit a trivia contest of your own, you can do so by sending it in Kahoot. Just make up your own question and then your own trivia and then send it to me. My Kahoot username is NorbCam12. So if you send it to there, I'll get it and then I'll take a look at it and maybe use it as is or make some modifications. All right. So congratulations. That was great. So that wraps up this show. I know you guys got in the beginning got a chance to talk about your streams. I'll give you a chance again, but we'll start with Martin because he didn't get to go last time. So Martin, why don't you let everybody know what you got going on? Any videos, any funny videos? I noticed you had that short, quick one that I saw, the reaction to, or was every Seahawks fan reaction
that was
to
2 seconds and completely pointless.
It's got to be a record for one of the shortest YouTube videos ever made, but it was pretty funny. So Seahawks Martin, what you got?
Yeah, since the season's over, I won't post weekly anymore. I'll probably post once in a while. Maybe more piano videos because you guys like my latest one. I might make more football comedy, whatever it is. But yeah, and I think we just hit like 700 subscribers a few days ago, something like that. So thanks a lot, guys. Road to 1K. Feels great. So if you guys feel free, then go to the description, check out my channel along with Squabbo, Steezy, and of course Norb. Get them all to their milestones because they all deserve it. But yeah, that's just pretty much what my channel is about. And so enjoy.
All right.
Also, there's some stuff right here. Check these out too.
There you go. All right. I stand corrected. I said 75%, and that was wrong. So 8 out of 12 is as corrected. 67% or 66.66666666 repetan 6 would be the right answer of the actual percentage. So even lower than I gave credit for. I mean, if you get 67% on a grade in school, what is that? Is that a D? That's horrible. That's terrible.
It's
I mean,
crazy.
you put it that way.
In my school, a D is a passing grade somehow. Like, that's disappointing. And
no, D's still passing.
It's still passing. I mean, unless you get an F. I mean, F's an F, but everything D- is still passing. It's not going to win you any awards, but you still get it.
I don't think they deserve anything.
So, but congratulations.
A win is a win.
Yeah.
A win is a win.
Right.
That's right.
We're Seahawks fans. Now, let's not complain about pretty points.
If they grade on a curve, it doesn't matter. That 67% got you the number one spot. So, again, congratulations to Cameron Hughes for throwing some tricky trivia that way. So let's go to Steezy. Your turn to talk about your channel.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Please be sure to show everybody here some love. Obviously, if you haven't already liked or subscribed to NorbCam and you're watching the stream, I honestly don't know what you're doing if you haven't done any of those things already. So please be sure to do that. Check out Squab's latest video, How to Fix the Seahawks by Squabbo. Check out Martin's 2-second video if you haven't already. If you guys could please actually leave a like on all these videos and comment Team Squeezy, Team Steezy, or Team NorbCam or Team Seahawks Martin. Please do that. Comments are actually a huge, component when it comes to YouTube algorithms. And so, obviously, we all appreciate the views and the likes, but if you guys could please comment, please comment and like all our videos. That would mean a lot. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, all socials at Steezy A Smith, SteezyA SMITH. I got a few videos coming for y'all. I will have a Seahawks video hopefully coming out within the next week. I got a baseball video that was botched as well, but hopefully That'll be coming out as well. Story of the Cleveland Indians and why they're changing their name. That'll be coming out. I'm hoping to do a Conor McGregor video, hopefully as well, for any MMA, UFC fighters out there. And then that Seahawks video, as well as the article, will be coming out as well in the next week. So a whole lot coming for y'all. You guys please show some love and always. And thank you so much. And yeah, thank you.
All right, Squabo, your floor.
I'm very excited tomorrow to be able to call for the first time a Wazoo men's basketball game on KGR's Facebook page. So be sure to tune into that. I'm going to be able to do a vlog at the same time and upload that either later this week or early next week, hopefully, where I just show you the experience without fans at a Pac-12 basketball game. That's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned on my channel for that. I'm coming out with an article on how to fix the Seahawks. I already posted a video about it, but definitely go show some love to the other gentlemen on this panel. They're all doing great things individually, and if you're not checking out each and every one of their content, you're selling yourself short. So go subscribe to each and every one of their channels, and then subscribe to myself, please.
All right, yes, absolutely. Martin, are you waving or are you trying to get my attention?
Yeah, I'm raising my hand like I'm in class. But hey, Squabba, do you think you could like maybe live stream the basketball game, just you announcing the game? I don't know, something kind of like 7-10 style.
I'm not going to be able to do it for the first game, but I'm definitely looking into it for future games. So I greatly appreciate that. And there will be live watch parties for the championship games this weekend too. So definitely stay tuned for that on my channel. And
then another question, Norb. Next week, are we getting you know who on the show or no?
The one that we talked behind the scenes about. Yes. Oh, yes. I don't know. I gotta reconnect and find out.
Don't let them know yet. I don't know. Don't let them know.
Okay, no, I know what you're saying. We'll see. I got a definite maybe. So
what a tease. What a tease.
Yeah. So it's non-committal maybe. So I'll give you that. It wasn't a no though. It's sometimes no means yes, but sometimes no means no, and sometimes maybe means maybe. So I don't know what to say. We'll find out. Hopefully next week, though, we'll have the full roundtable back. We just had Coach Marsh had some other business obligations, and then Brian Abker had a situation come up with, I think his mom's can have some bad luck with her car, because didn't she have a flat tire? He had to leave for the previous show, and then this time she got hit by somebody, and apparently at least the guy wasn't hit and run. He actually came out and said, "I'm sorry, I hit your car," so he had to deal with that. So that's unfortunate, but hopefully next week there'll be no car issues, and we'll have him back on the show, because I know he's got a lot of thoughts on free agency. So I'd like to finish by saying, a friend of mine, Mike Lorraine, we have a channel called The Watchman. He's also 80s Broncos fan, and we have our business, Quantum Productions. So he was telling me, learning some YouTube tips, is that you don't really want to tell people that the video is ending. Rather, you want to avoid those lines. I've already said the lines that said this video is ending, but if I were to do this again, I would say, well, so now we would like to transition. Please click on one of these screens here to see another show where we break down other aspects of the Seahawks, or perhaps this one here where we talk about what happened in the NFC and AFC Championship game. So the show's not ending. We're just simply transitioning to one of these screens or over here. So please do that. And while you're at it, do all the things that we said to do that helps us a lot by liking it, commenting, and all that, and going on and checking out these videos as well. So we'll see you on the other side. And until next time, go Hawks.